All right. Hello out there. Welcome to the Game Junk Podcast. This is episode number 10 for January 2012. And my name is Sean.
My name is Frank.
My name is Andrew.
And coming up on this episode, we've got basically no reviews, just our top 10 games of 2011. And we're also going to talk about some of our most anticipated games of 2012. I don't know if this will be a little bit of a shorter episode. Could be. We'll see what happens.
Doubt it.
Never usually pans out that way, but
we're zipping through, man.
But how you guys doing? It's been only a month, so we actually organized this. And
I feel like we're actually friends or something.
Lots happened in a month in my world of video games.
Well, that's very true. Why don't you?
My ongoing project, Uncle Frank's Retro Video Game Lounge.
Now,
it's not complete. I still need proper seating and some controller extension cables, but it's functional. It's operational.
Now, when did you actually start this project officially, would you say?
I would say...
Because to me, it seemed to come together...
7 months ago.
Yeah? It seemed to come together pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you tell us all the systems you've got hooked up, ready to go?
Okay, so you got... Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, GameCube, Atari Jaguar CD, PlayStation 1 and 2, then Sega Genesis 32X CD, Saturn, Dreamcast, TurboGrafx and TurboGrafx CD, 3DO, and Xbox.
That's a pretty big lineup.
Now, people,
right there.
it's not the.
I see one glaring
What?
missing system. The Commodore 64.
Oh.
I got it downstairs, bud.
I have a monitor.
Let's do it.
But for me, it's not the most expansive collection. Like, people I know have much bigger collections. The emphasis on this is hopefully the game library builds and every game is complete with box and manual.
Right.
There's no loose cartridges with stickers coming off. Like, these are, this is high quality
Legit.
materials. And it's the ease of switching systems.
Right.
And like on a whim saying, I want to play the 3DO right now. And
Appeals to the ADD and all of
yeah,
us.
there's no like, oh, I got to hook it up and all. Everything's hooked up, ready to go. Switch of a button. It's not perfect yet, but that's what you want.
How are you hiding all the wires?
I don't know. It just happened. It's pretty tight.
Now, are there any systems that you don't have that you'd like to have?
I see. Now, a lot of people are into the older stuff too, like the Ataris, the Odysseys, and stuff like that.
ColecoVision.
Yeah, for me, it's all about starting when if I didn't play it back then, I don't really care. Or if like 3DO and TurboGrafx, I always wanted, but couldn't have.
Right.
So it's more about indulging myself as a child.
So you never played Atari 2600?
No. Maybe my dad had an Atari. I played Pac-Man. That's it.
Okay. Because that's definitely where I started, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I played Pac-Man. I can't lie.
But yeah, I mean,
but I kind of started Nintendo.
I mean, some of those other ones, like you said, like the Odyssey and ColecoVision. What else is there? The Magnavox.
Yeah, thing? they don't pluck my heartstrings.
Yeah,
you know?
I hear you. So, but that being said, there's nothing that you haven't got that you want.
The one would be a Neo Geo.
I was wondering about that. Now, those are pretty expensive.
Pretty pricey, yeah.
Yeah.
Almost got one the other day.
You're almost... Are you going to get portable systems? Little Game Gear?
Yeah, I have a Game Gear. I have 2 Game Gears.
Now, that's interesting. I mean, you should set up like a little play...
Virtual Boy?
Well, beside, like you've seen the library, I want to set up a table beside there with a Virtual Boy set up, and then in the drawers have each portable system collection.
Nice.
In their own specified drawer?
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
That could be good.
Definitely.
I also want a gun rack with all the different light guns.
Right.
I might have to get that custom made, but...
Big buck hunter.
That idea tantalizes me. I don't think that's been done, and I really want to do that.
When are you going to start charging a mission?
Oh, it's free. It's always free.
What happens when strangers start showing up at your door?
I don't know. Word gets out, I'm probably going to get robbed.
When he pulls up the light gun.
A lot of fucking goodies in that house. Someone could pick that thing clean in a day. You know, do you ever wish that would happen? I do wish that would happen. Someone would steal all my stuff.
Start over
and
fresh.
I could start from scratch. Like, how good a feeling would that be?
I think it would be a pretty bad feeling, actually.
I don't think so. I think it would be amazing.
Be free of all your possessions.
Exactly.
Well, you got a lot of pictures to document it for the insurance company.
That's right.
So, have you actually? Did you post some pictures of the finished?
The night we kicked her off.
Yeah.
Posted. It was just the setup, not the actual game shelves yet.
Right.
I should do that. Throw some pics up.
Yeah. Throw it up on your Twitter or wherever else.
Film junk forums, maybe?
Something. Oh, yeah, maybe. I really want to get couches first, though. Couches are key.
I mean, definitely. But, are you going with the retro couch as well?
I don't know.
I think you gotta.
I found a nice 4-seat leather sectional, and every chair separate. So it's, perfect. So you don't have to all be bunched together. You just...
That's pretty good.
So...
Do they have their own cup holders and everything, too?
No. So something along those lines. I don't think it's going to be a retro couch. But you never know. Right. I look for video game furniture on eBay and...
What about those, those rocking chairs with, the sound system, whatever those are called?
No, there will be no video game chairs.
Those are hilarious.
That might complete it, though.
But yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Now, I don't know, I don't want to get too into this, but have you thought about the idea of having two Xboxes hooked up, doing Halo, old school Halo, things like that?
Absolutely not. That will not be happening.
Wow, okay. That's too bad.
Why?
Because that would be amazing. Can't
you do it over System Link on...
No, we're talking retro. You got to keep it retro.
I'm not doing 2 TVs. Oh. I would like to add an arcade machine or a pinball machine. I think would be.
You know what I might have in my house?
What?
A 4-player tab for the Sega Genesis.
Oh yeah, I need one.
Might be interested in that. I used to play the old 2-on-2 NHL 96.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Might
be interested.
About 25 Sega Genesis controllers, so I think
could be a use of them.
Could be good. I honestly have 25.
Just to warn you, it doesn't really stay in the plugs very well. You'll have to probably tape it in there.
Is it the EA one or the Sega one? There's 2.
EA one.
Okay.
I think.
That one, it looks like that.
Yeah, it's like a square with 2 plugs in the back and 4 in the front.
Yeah. That's the one.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, but it just feels great.
Yeah, and I was pretty jealous when I was there.
We did play a little bit.
Sweet.
White Man Can't Jump for Atari Jaguar, and Sean absolutely schooled me.
You have Double Dribble? I recall that being for Nintendo.
No. But he...
that is a good game.
The best part of White Man Can't Jump is the end of the match, when it's an animated GIF of putting money down, paying the other person, the whole...
No, people were asking, on Twitter, because I posted about it, and people were asking, is it actually licensed from the movie?
I don't think so.
Well, I looked it up on Wikipedia. It says it is, but there's
no imagery from the movie whatsoever. The font is completely different.
Yeah, none of the actors have their
presented by Ron Shelton.
So,
no
pretty
Sniper
weird,
in there? Wesley Snipes?
No. He had this chick on his team that couldn't miss.
I picked the right team. What can I say? The Duncan Demons.
What was my team again?
I forget.
Fuck. What a disaster that game is. And I'll never play it. When I think
play it once.
Think about how much money I've wasted on this. I want to shoot myself, but it actually I don't know, it just gives me a warm feeling.
But that's the thing, somebody can come over, look at the shelf and be like, they made White Man Can't Jump the video game, I have to play this.
Yeah.
And we did.
And it was pretty quick. Yeah. I didn't have the Jaguar plugged in, but the other thing is, the bad part of it is losing auctions on eBay at the last second. I lost a TurboGrafx slot today with 19 games.
Oh,
and it's
heartbreaking.
I want to bid. I don't know. I'm so cheap when it comes to it, but I should be you only regret the lots you didn't go high enough on. There was a 12 game Genesis lot 8 months ago that I still think about every single day.
Wow.
Fuck, like it had Moonwalker in it.
Ooh, classic.
Mint. And I was afraid to go over $120. Like, what was I thinking? Why was I so stingy? Just fucking go for it.
Just, you'll get them next time, you know? There's always the
There
next
hasn't
time.
been a next time in 8 months.
All right. Well,
But I do want to start this summer, like, fucking yard
It's gonna get
sailing.
serious.
oh, yeah.
That's where you get your real finds.
Definitely.
Getting up early on Saturdays.
You and all the old people.
Yeah.
Gray heads.
Hopefully they're not building retro game lounge.
All right. Well, before we get to our top 10 games of 2011, which is, kind of late at this point, but whatever, we're going to talk about one news story because there is one very intriguing news story that kind of broke over the last couple of days, and it's still very much a rumor. It's a pretty juicy one. So apparently, some inside sources are saying that Rocksteady Studios are working on a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. Rocksteady, of course, being the studio that did Batman Arkham Asylum and Batman Arkham City. Now, apparently they're saying the title of the game is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Manhattan Crisis. And there's a few other details they have in there.
Well, I think it's just a rumor. Like, that was the name of the third Nintendo title.
Right.
I don't think it's actually.
Well, it says here that according to now,
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't come from
Yeah.
some reliable source like I don't know, like
Rocksteady?
IGN or GameSpot or some reputed video game outlet. It's just a guy who kind of apparently has his finger on the pulse. And but there's signs that people have been saying, you know what, it kind of makes sense. And hopefully, if it is true, we'll hear soon. But what are your thoughts?
Well, like,
on this?
as a developer, it just seems like a no-brainer. Like, they would it would mostly be art assets.
Yeah, you'd
right?
think the
like
combat
they have a
would
combat system, all that.
Transfer.
I would
pretty
think
good.
maybe in terms of coding, they would scale back some of the stealth and detective aspects of the game and work more on, like, probably multiplayer. I would think would be a huge sell for that game to play as all the turtles together. So I don't know. I don't think it would be super difficult for them, and I think everyone I've talked to, like, just instant jizz when they hear about this idea.
And that's the thing. Like, even if this isn't true, now that it's out there and people are like, that would be amazing. Why don't they do it? Why don't they go after this license? Like, I don't know. I don't think can't be that hard to get the TMNT license at this point. I mean, Ubisoft did a few games.
But Warner Brothers made the animated movie. Oh, but that's even better. Because if Warner Brothers has the rights,
Rocksteady.
yeah, they've, like, just like Batman.
Big time.
A fucking done deal.
It'd be great, even that same, like, sort of art style, that dark and gritty,
Yeah.
sort of like like the first movie or
And
first
kind of
and
like the
second
comics a bit too, right? Like,
Yeah, the original comics are like the first movie. Like, it just, I think everyone who grew up with TMNT would love to see, a game that's not cartoony and cel shaded and, is actually a little bit darker. And I mean, Rocksteady proved that you can do a Batman game like that and it'll sell. People will love it. Why not do it for the Turtles?
I'm even more excited at the idea of, like, turtle villains.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you think of all the amazing boss fights in the Arkham City, Arkham Asylum games, and think of all the great boss fights you could have in this.
Crane? Brain? What's his name?
Crane, Lord Crane.
Yeah.
Old Leatherhead might make an appearance.
Yeah.
But it got us to talking too. Why there's so many games out there from, like, IPs, and it's so easy to envision a license just skinning on top of it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what did we talk about? Well, they kind of already did this, but a new updated, like, Star Wars in the Mass Effect engine. Right? They did the MMO, but I'd rather just see, like, a new Knights of the Old Republic updated.
Yeah.
We joked before about L.A. Noire, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I don't think that would sell as well.
Probably not, but
Or like Dick Tracy, even.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I like where your head's at. When I like Uncharted, Indiana Jones game.
Obviously, yeah.
What are you doing?
Why not just put the same game out and put Indiana Jones?
Exactly.
And give him a hat.
Yeah, that's all you got to do, man.
And that's the thing is, like, why are all these licensed games shit? And then people come out with a game that's very heavily influenced by this other property, and it's amazing. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
It's called rushing it.
I guess. I mean, once you have the license, you just assume it's going to sell itself. So.
I mean, Uncharted pretty much ripped off Last Crusade's story anyway. So
yeah, pretty much.
Go full boat. Don't be shy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hope it's true. But
you could almost do a direct copy of the movies for Indiana Jones, and it would sell. It'd be like, yeah, this is awesome. Like, look at the Lego Indiana Jones games. They sell. They're fun. Why not have a updated, more realistic version of that?
There's got to be something that would match Lord of the Rings.
Skyrim?
Maybe, I'm not so sure. But something like that, right? Like
Dragon Age?
Yeah, something. That's got to be a no-brainer, too.
Yeah. I mean, didn't they just do a Lord of the Rings game last year?
Yeah, it was okay, I think.
Or the online one.
Yeah, like Star Trek. What about Star Trek?
There is a Star Trek game coming out. But
yeah, but is it Mass Effect and Star Trek?
Mass Effect, Star Trek.
Right? Like, fuck
sweet.
it.
Yep.
Add some space combat and you're there.
Idiots, man. Idiots.
All right. So, anyway, obviously, if we hear more about that, I'm sure we'll be talking about it again. So let's get into the big topic of discussion, our top 10 games of 2011. Now, do we need to set up a disclaimer? Obviously, a lot of
gaps.
Yeah, we are not video game critics. It's not even close to comparison to what we do for Film Junk. I mean, we're just kind of playing these games when we have time for fun and talking about it.
It's a lot tougher to finish games.
It takes 2 hours to watch a movie. It takes 2 hours to play 1/20th of a game.
Right. Which, I mean, even the people who do video game stuff for a living, I don't have no idea how they get through all the games they need to get through. But, obviously there's going to be lots of stuff we didn't play. We'll kind of go through some of that after our lists. Obviously for me too, like I said last year, there's definitely games I haven't finished here, but I can honestly say, I think my top 10 list, I'm very happy with, and I want to finish every single game, and I can see myself finishing every single game. Probably won't happen, but I can say that. So,
pretty proud of you.
So who wants to kick it off with the number 10 spot?
Okay, I'll go. Now, there's ways to look at top 10 lists, right? Like, is this... I also haven't beaten every game on this list, but they give us, a feeling playing it, right? Like, that this game would be awesome.
Right.
Now, if I based my top 10 list on actual hours I've spent playing the game, this game would be number 1.
Okay.
The game is Monopoly Millionaires for Facebook.
Nice.
And I don't know what it is about this game. I was addicted, heavily addicted.
Sure were.
I've weaned off it for a while now, but late at night I'm watching a TV show. I might open up the laptop, get a few rolls in. But yeah, the only Facebook game I've ever really gotten into, and it's the simplest, stupidest game in the world.
Well, it's interesting because I was kind of...
You wouldn't even try it.
Well, yeah.
You're sitting there.
I was not that interested, but I was actually trying to think of games like that are Facebook games, iPhone games, something like that to put on my list, and nothing actually made my list this year.
Wow,
so.
I thought yours was going to be all over.
I thought so too.
It's not. So
okay, yeah, that's it. Number 10, Monopoly Millionaires.
All right, interesting choice.
By Playfish.
I was close to putting a Facebook game on there, but I didn't. But I'll mention it now. Is the new Indiana Jones spin-off from Zynga.
Oh yeah,
I was playing a bunch of that. Adventureland, I think it's called, or something Adventure something.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And it's pretty good. I played it a lot actually, but now they've started making it more dependent on having friends help you out through everything.
Yeah, I hate that.
So I've really kind of lost
That's the
interest.
beauty of Monopoly Millionaires for me. It's I find a lot of Facebook games get too complicated too.
Yeah.
Monopoly Millionaires walks a beautiful line. And I'm never dependent on anyone else. It helps to have friends. It doesn't drive the game at all.
The only Facebook game I've been into this year is Zuma Blitz, which is pretty good, I gotta say.
Zuma.
Yeah. So my real number 10, probably everyone is going to be angry at me for this, but I'm kind of in the same boat as Frank. This is like my personal, how I like the game, and I'm going with Portal 2 as my number 10.
Number 10, whoa.
I know, that's the reaction I was expecting, so.
I could see it. We talked about the middle of the game. It is not strong.
No.
Okay.
Still great mechanics, but overall just didn't give me the warm and fuzzy feeling inside.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my number 10, I'm going to go with, I often like to go with a game that, maybe wasn't perfect. Maybe it was a little rough around the edges, but I saw something that was pretty different and unique.
So you put in like 10 hours?
And,
10 minutes?
No, I played a few hours of this for sure.
Aliens Infestation.
No. I actually went with stacking for my number 10 pick.
Oh,
interesting.
Almost made my list.
Which, it's not there's definitely technical issues with the game, but the concept of the dolls and just the whole sort of silent film aesthetic is so original. And, honestly, I think there's not very many studios that would take a chance on an idea like this. And, I think it paid off. So that's my number 10 pick.
That's the question.
Oh, it did?
Did it? Yeah?
Well, I don't know.
Did it make money?
I don't think it did that well, but...
All right, number 9. This one might be a surprise.
Stacking.
Sonic Generations.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Not a surprise.
I haven't beaten it or anything, but I was loving this game when I played it, and it's finally a fun Sonic game, and tying into the whole, older level styles redone with music. First of all, they picked Chemical Plant Zone from Sonic 2, which automatically elevates this game 10 levels with the best
automatic top 10
the best music from a level in any video game in history.
Wow.
Chemical Plant Zone. I want that for the outro. For the outro music.
Okay.
I shan't be disappointed.
Wow, that's a glowing.
It's a great game. I highly recommend it to platforming fans and Sonic fans.
What was the last great Sonic game before this? Then would you say
Sonic and Knuckles?
Sonic Adventure, I think. I haven't replayed it. People say it's not as good anymore, but at the time, I loved it.
And what system was that for?
Dreamcast.
All right. Interesting. All right, Huck City.
Number 9, L.A. Noire.
Ugh.
Ooh. Geez. Polarizing. I don't know. I know a lot of people had problems with this. People looking like puppets and all that crap. But overall, I thought this was a fun game. I played it a lot with my wife. We had a lot of fun with it. And
I just thought, I didn't even think it was a game. That game's on autopilot, man. I'm sick of autopilot experiences.
It's an honorable mention for me, but it's I couldn't put it on my top 10 list. It just, I didn't want to go back and play it. It was such a chore, and that's always a big
Yeah, I never really ran into that. I know, I can see why you might have, but that's a big thing with me too. If I have to force myself to play it, it's not going to make my list. And I didn't run into that with this game, but
I just thought the interrogation system,
it needed work.
It's just not there yet.
The story wasn't great, but overall, I thought it was pretty good.
The interrogation system's a good idea. I just think that with that uncanny valley aspect, it always looks like they're lying, or it's too hard to get that kind of emotion right on a face.
Yeah, but I think it did take some big steps, and I'd like to see some of that tech used for something else in the future. So, definitely. All right, where's my list here? My number 9, if I'm remembering correctly here, Super Mario 3D Land. I thought long and hard about putting this on the list because, I do ultimately think it's just another Mario game. But, the 3DS came out this year and there was really nothing but just ports of other, titles and just quick little casual games. this, Nintendo needed to prove that 3D belongs in video games, that, this is the must-play title for this system. And I think they did all that. I think there's a lot of pretty creative stuff with the use of 3D in the game. And some people may disagree with this, but I think one thing they really got right on this is the difficulty level. I think it's, you can not breeze through. I think there's difficulty there, but you're not going to throw your system across the room getting through the full game. But then they do have the second mode for the hardcore people once you beat it.
I fired this up this week trying to find a spot for it on my list.
And?
It failed.
Ouch.
So we have drastically different
I found
so far.
the jumping, like, with the 3D, extremely. I was trying to do this one level, the one where you first get the spinning top thing, and I missed jumping on a Goomba 10 times, and I don't think it was my fault. Like, the camera was fucking weird. Like, I know how to play. I know how to play Mario. I've been to a few rodeos, you know what I'm saying? And I could not jump on this thing. I blame them.
I had some frustration with it for sure, but I mean, I'm the first person to get frustrated and shut down a game and be like, I'm not coming back to this. And I didn't really. I mean, there's a couple levels where I don't know if they do this all the time, but they have like this sort of you die a bunch of times and they'll drop a power up for you at the beginning of the level.
You touched one of those?
Oh yeah. I was like, God, fuck it, whatever.
How embarrassing.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't care. Like, I think Mario is a game, especially something that people of all ages want to play. Make it accessible, and then once you get through, give it to the hardcore fans.
That's like, we made it too hard. We recognize it's too hard.
It's not.
So
no.
we'll give you a cheat at the end.
It was still.
I just can't believe that Sean would grab one of those. I look at that as like poison.
I have no problem with putting a game on easy. Why would I have a problem with that? Like, there was still challenge in the platforming elements. You could still die from that. So, whatever.
Disappointing. That's all. What else can I say? All right. Number 8 for me. Mortal Kombat.
Whoa.
Ooh. On the list.
I just like that, games are franchises that tried to get crazy in the 3D era and do stuff are just getting back to their roots.
Yeah.
And, like, not fucking around. And I think Mortal Kombat, I don't know. I love Mortal Kombat in general. And I thought they did a great job.
I never played it.
Capturing the feeling of old Mortal Kombat. I'm not crazy about some of the cutscenes and the character models, but the gameplay's fun, and I actually like the slow-mo moves with the bones breaking and whatnot, the brutalities. And
definitely followed a bit in the footsteps of Street Fighter 4.
Sure.
And but I mean, yeah, from what I understand, people who were fans of the first Mortal Kombat found a lot to love in this.
I've just always been more of a Mortal Kombat guy than a Street Fighter guy, not because I think one's better than the other, but I don't have time to learn the subtleties of Street Fighter like some people do.
Right.
And I'll never be that good, so at least Mortal Kombat, I don't have to play it constantly to have fun with it or be good at it.
I think my problem with these games is that I just, I know I won't play it on my own. Like, if, I'm at a friend's house or something and it's there, that's the perfect time to play. But, I'm never going to put hours into it on my own. Yeah. So, but, yeah, I mean, the thing I find that's interesting about a lot of these sort of reboots of going back to basics is, like, I love it, but then the question is, once they've done it once, where do they go next? And that's, I mean, Mario kind of...
They put out a special edition, and then they put out a gold edition, and then they put out a extra character pack.
Edition.
Yeah, sure. All right.
Number 8, stacking.
Whoa.
That's right, number 8.
I thought our lists were going to be totally different.
Nope. I like this game too. Like you kind of mentioned how there's some technical issues, but I thought the puzzles were pretty fun, actually, and I liked how you could approach every puzzle. I think it was like 5 different ways or something like that, and you weren't ever really forced to do it all 5 ways. You could do it one way and then move on, whereas, like, I'm going to try it all different ways and try to get them all, because I found them all pretty interesting. And I thought just that, like, attention to detail, how they, really thought about, let's try to make a puzzle that you can approach a whole bunch of different ways, was really fun and really good idea. And you were mentioning that, Dwyer, how, not a lot of other companies would kind of try that out and go that route. And I think it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to play Trenched or Iron Brigade yet.
Neither have I. Yeah.
So I keep meaning to. I just haven't really fired up the Xbox too much lately.
I heard Trenched was really good.
Yeah. Double Fine, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously we're all Double Fine fans here, and I know you guys had Costume Quest on your lists last year.
Should probably be on again this year.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, they just seem to be doing some of the more creative stuff out there. All right, my number 8 is an Xbox Live Arcade game that I feel like it got good reviews, but I feel like it didn't in the end get as much recognition as maybe it should have, which is Insanely Twisted Shadow Planet.
I thought you started playing it and didn't like it.
I like the game a lot. I think the only issue I have with it is that, as I mentioned when I talked about it before, there's no solid story, but I think the art style is amazing. I think the gameplay is a lot of fun. And, honestly, like it's just one of those games that once you start playing, you get hooked into it because it has that Metroid kind of design. And I wanted to throw it out there because I think not enough people have played it this year. So, there you go.
I bought it. I barely played it. That and Bastion are two games.
Give it another go. Bastion is, we'll get to that.
It's coming up.
Number 7, Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Now, I really like the art style. I'm liking the dungeons. The first couple hours were extremely painful.
As we've discussed.
The motion control combat has serious issues. Serious issues. And I challenge anyone to show me how to play this game properly. Because I don't think it can be done.
Now, how far would you say you are in the game right now?
Maybe a third.
Okay. And after those first few hours...
It's gotten better.
Yeah, it kicks in right away.
Yeah. But I just find I was frustrated a lot with the motion controls.
I want to give this another go, and I was trying to fit it in where I was sort of cramming for this show, but there were a few games that kind of stole my time away, and I just kind of went with it. I didn't question it, so I didn't necessarily give that a fair shake. But the first couple hours are brutal.
I haven't played it. Probably won't. That was you, right? I'm up. Number 7, Rage. Now, I know
I knew
no
this
one has played this.
I've played it a bit, and I like it. Yeah.
It's good. I mean, I haven't finished it. This is one of 2 games on my list.
This is your agenda. It's pretty obvious. You love these guys.
Yeah, no, I mean, the game's fun. I'm at a point where it's kind of shifted locations, and it kind of took the wind out of my sails because I was just getting really used to the old area. Then they moved me to this new area, and I had to relearn everything, where everything is, and all that stuff. And it kind of took the wind out. But overall, I think the shooting mechanics are really good. Drive mechanics are good. Character models, graphics are obviously amazing.
Here we go. Say it.
No, I won't.
What?
I don't know. Just looked good. I like it.
Oh, I expect you to talk about the AI.
Oh, no. Yeah, the AI is good.
You love the AI.
The AI is good,
you
yeah.
You love it.
Now,
that's my bag.
Is the game a tech demo, though? Is that...
I don't think so. I mean, it's weak in the story side of it, I think. But, I mean, look at Doom. Did Doom have a story?
The biggest thing for me is the save system is horrible.
What do you mean?
You have to save on your own constantly. I lost a half an hour of progress by not saving.
Well, it's like a PC game.
But the problem is, on PS3, saving...
Well, it takes a little while.
Takes a minute. It's brutal.
Yeah, well, okay, that's one bad thing. But, I mean, overall, I think it's good. I think it's a good game. I think it's really underrated as far as critics.
It has flown under the radar quite a bit.
Totally. There's no real hype for it at all. And, I don't know, I thought it was good enough to make my top 10.
All right.
Accept it.
Oh, I'm completely accepting.
I will allow it. Okay, my number 7. I'm interested to see if this shows up on either of your lists. Dead Space 2.
Did that come out this year?
Yeah.
Really?
We played it back in February, I believe, and I was loving it for quite a while. And as we discussed in the review, right at the end, I kind of got frustrated by. I thought the difficulty level kind of ramped up a bit right at the end, but other than that,
you're running from that
constantly.
What?
Isn't it like from the chase sequence?
Yeah, and then after that,
the boss. Yeah.
But I think
that boss took me like an hour and a half to beat.
Me too.
I think the atmosphere in this game is amazing. I loved all the zero-G stuff, which, I haven't played the first game. I don't know how much that was in the first game, but I just, thought that was a really interesting mechanic, really fun. And, I just, there was definitely some environments and some sort of sequences in this game that, when I think back at some of the most fun I had gaming this year, it's up there.
Interesting. I didn't even remember that came out this year, so it's definitely not on my list. But
maybe that's a bad thing.
Okay, my number 6. I think I'll be the only person with this game on their list, and it almost went higher. I could honestly put this number 4. I don't know why I didn't. No, I'm not going to. I'm not changing. Number 6, Resistance 3. I feel like I'm the only person in the world who likes the Resistance series, and by like, I mean love. I played the first one, I think 6 times. And this is before the days of trophies, you know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
That's dedication. Played the second one quite a few times as well. And I don't know. I love the weapons. I love the variety of the weapons, and I love the leveling system of weapons in Resistance 3. I don't get caught up in the ideas like, it's like just another first-person shooter clone. I think the weapons are amazing, and the grenade types, everything. I think it is the most arcadey first-person shooter, and I love it for that. I love it a lot.
Better or worse than Halo Reach?
I would say worse. I think Halo Reach is pretty solid, but I don't know. It's not. For me, I still might play Resistance 3 over Halo Reach. Like, it's got a soft spot. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
It's just
when I think of arcadey shooters, I think of Halo usually, just because they seem to have nailed sort of the accessible but still very polished FPS.
I have only played Resistance 1, which I did borrow off of you, Frank, but I found that I really enjoyed it, but I found the difficulty ramped up in really weird spots.
I would say in the first one,
it became very frustrating.
It's when you enter the spire. I don't think this, and then they start shooting with a new tagging gun.
Yeah. It's like, that's exactly the spot. Yeah. I was ready to throw my controller across
it takes
the room.
A little while, but
I probably played that area for an hour and couldn't get past it, and I think that's when I gave the game back to you.
I pretty much enter those games at superhuman difficulty. But whatever.
I think I was playing on easy. Still couldn't beat it.
It's just play styles, really.
All right.
6? Assassin's Creed Revelations. Now, this is the second game on my list I have not finished yet, but I recently picked it up on Boxing Day.
20 bone?
$20. Little side story. Deal. I told you guys already, but went to EB. I don't normally visit EB stores because I hate their employees normally. But this $20 Assassin's Creed I could not miss. And it also had Deus Ex on for $30. So I go in there, pick up those 2 games, and get Kane and Lynch 2 for free.
Woo!
Yeah, still in the shrink wrap. Maybe we'll make it some sort of present for people on.
Give it to Pete.
Sure.
So anyway,
Pete is starting at the place that makes.
That's true. He probably hasn't played it.
Oh, yeah.
But I will say that I haven't played it yet but I have had an itch that needed a little scratching for Assassin's Creed. But I couldn't just buy the new one. So there's actually a really good deal at Future Shop, which I picked up. It's Assassin's Creed 1, 2, and Brotherhood.
Yeah.
I got them for $30.
Well, I got it for PS3 Revelations has Assassin's Creed 1, and I already have Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah, I didn't have it yet. But
I played Brotherhood on the Xbox, so I already have 1, 2, and now Revelations.
I'm just putting it out there
PS3.
to the listeners. Good. I'm not talking to you. The listeners might want to know about that.
Who cares about that? Just kidding.
But, I'm starting at 2. I've been playing 2 again, and my plan is to
2 is good. Yeah.
Go through it all. So.
Brotherhood was pretty good. It wasn't like a big leap like from 1 to 2. Revelations kind of the same thing, but I'm liking everything they've added. I haven't really gone into the whole bomb making thing, but people were ripping on the tower defense. I just did my first like tower defense thing, and I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was like horrible. It was like normal addition.
So now, but like you were saying, Assassin's Creed 3 potentially coming out this year. So like
that's what I heard. Yeah.
So those two aren't full sequels then? Is that what we're...
No, it's a continuation of the story of Ezio.
Yeah, Brotherhood and Revelations are kind of like additions to 2.
Okay.
They're milking it pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of seems like they're really...
And 3 is supposedly going to be like another new complete area.
That titty's
with a
dry.
new person.
So, but obviously they're still good then in your eyes.
Yeah, I mean, the mechanics are pretty solid. I had literally just finished Uncharted 3 and then went to Assassin's Creed Revelations, and I was still kind of like hooked on the Uncharted game mechanics, so I was a little frustrated in the beginning because I was trying to do stuff that Drake can do that Ezio can't do. And so I was getting a little frustrated, like getting jammed up on places. But once I got reaccustomed to the controls, it's pretty fluid. And the only thing I don't like is if you're up really high and you hit circle to drop down one, you fall to your death every time. He doesn't know how to grab onto a ledge below you.
Yeah, he can. You gotta press it again.
Oh, is that what it is? Learn something new every day, I guess.
Ouch.
Yeah, so anyways, I like it. I'm probably barely scratched the surface, maybe like 20% of the way through, maybe 25, but
I've been playing too, and like the story and dialogue is horrible.
Yeah, that is the one thing about Revelations. It's not better. If anything, it's worse. And it's not really like going from Uncharted 3 where it's like so fluid and like an actual story to this where it's almost like they put little story clips, cinematic scenes into a fucking Tumblr and then pulled them out and then just kind of like pasted them in order because it's so random.
Like they're talking about these Italian guys and family name. I don't give a shit. Like I can't even keep track of them all.
Yeah, and this one's the same thing. You go from this like no man's land and they're talking about your backstory of the real guy who Nathan Drake played. What's his name?
Yeah,
whatever his name is. The guy who voices Nathan Drake.
So much you care about him. Oh, Nolan North.
Nolan North. They're talking about his character's backstory, and then you go through, and all of a sudden you're talking about some new assassins guild in Constantinople, and then it's like you walk 2 more steps, and then it's like, hey, look at this hook thing, like totally out of nowhere, kind of. There's no real like lead up into anything. You're just kind of wandering around randomly.
And I think this is a problem with a lot of developers. Like they're so caught up in their own mythology, and like they know their story inside out that. Well, it's tough for them to step out of that world.
Oh, I've totally seen that in action.
And like look at it from like a person who, I don't know, doesn't know like.
I agree. I think like that's the thing. Like think of like the kinds of people who make games and they're so like meticulous and like they're so into all these little details, but the average gamer is skipping cutscenes and stuff.
And,
like,
and that is like, you have to give props to Uncharted for that, like making a story that you care about.
And if you think about a writer, right, they take their initial story and then it goes through editing probably, 10 times before the final, novel is spit out. So you've had other people looking at it with a critical eye to cut it down for you, to help you cut it down. There's really nothing like that exists in video games. Usually there's like a small team and they all work together. And then there's no outside source that comes in after it's all written and been like, okay, this makes no sense. Or that kind of
not to mention the fact that the story is probably the first thing to go if you're going to start cutting stuff. And people don't care if it doesn't make sense as long as, that level that wasn't good is out of the game. Or
and then you got to try to cut and paste the story together some way else.
Yeah, it's a bit of a problem. Okay, so my number 6... This may show up on Frank's list, I'm guessing, somewhere.
Yo.
It's a little game called Outland.
Oh. No.
But Frank actually introduced me to this game. I remember you texted me and were like, you got to check out this Outland game. And I was like, based on the Sean Connery movie? And you're like, no. And I was like, okay. But, it is another sort of platformer.
I think I texted about you're going to blow your load.
Yeah, and I mean, I haven't put a ton of time into this game, but even just within the first, 10 or 15 minutes of playing it, I knew this was a game I was going to love. I think the only problem I have with it, and it's kind of similar to my complaint with Insanely Twisted Shadow Planet, is that there's a story there, but it's so, muddled and, this weird mythology thing that I didn't care, and I didn't really know why I was going from one place to another.
But when you think about it, that's almost a staple of Metroid-style games. Like, Metroid, there's not much story there.
There's not much, but, I mean, there's enough hints that, you kind of feel like when you're going to a new location, there's a reason to be there or something.
Well, I don't know about that.
Okay. But one thing I wanted to point out, and this will come up again with another game, but this is an Ubisoft game, and it's one of the most visually unique games of the year, I'd say. And, the sort of the mechanic of two colors that are diametrically opposed and switching between them.
That they ripped off from Ikaruga.
Right, but then they put it into a 2D platformer, and it's awesome. So,
and it's brand new.
I'm telling you, man, mashup gaming is where it's at. This is where we're going in the future. Right. But loved Outland, and we'll definitely be finishing this one.
Number 5, Portal 2.
Oh,
still really liked it. Aside from the weak middle, and the co-op's awesome too.
Yeah, the co-op is fun. We still have to finish that door. Someday.
Absolutely.
One of these days.
Yeah.
There's new stuff too, right? Didn't they release DLC for the co-op?
I don't know.
I think so.
Oh, Portal 2.
My number 5, definitely not on either of your lists. NHL 12.
Oh.
Now, I know Frank's already rolling his eyes at me over there, so I don't know. This is definitely the game I've put the most time into this year, and it's only halfway over.
But now you say that every year. Does that justify the...
Yeah, of course it does. It's my personal... If I'm going to play a game for 8,000 hours, it's probably going to be in my top 10.
Well, let me ask you this. Has there ever been an NHL game that came out that was worse than the previous year, and you actually were like, I want to go back and play last year's? Or anything?
Yeah, everyone since 2010.
No, there was a section in the early 2000s where I didn't buy any NHL games because they were shit. Before the dangle stick came in whatever that year was, 2008 or whatever. But there was a big run where I stopped buying EA and started buying the 2K version.
Right.
I remember buying both, but I remember liking the EA ones because of the free-for-all mode. I don't know if you remember that.
No.
Where you're each one guy, and it was kind of an arcadey.
Oh, version. Okay. I think
that's
I know
that's what we used to play on those ones a lot.
Yeah. So I know people are going to be like, oh, sports title, whatever. Hey, I'm still playing it. I played 2 games of hockey today. I'll probably play 2 to 3 tomorrow. I'll probably play 2 to 3 the next day.
So, but what was the big thing that they added this year that sold you on it?
Well, I mean, the hitting's better. The hitting is more realistic. If you actually line up a guy right, he'll fall down every time. It's not some random sort of weird. I sense they actually take the momentum and the physics into it when you hit them. If you're Zdeno Chara, you can basically knock guys down whenever you want.
Nice.
If you're a 5'6", 180-pound defenseman, odds are you're not going to be hitting guys down as often.
Okay, and this is my biggest problem that the series has taken the last 2 years. Okay, yep. I'm not saying it's bad to include those things. I just feel that the game is on autopilot. You can tell right away one team has way more momentum than the other team. They're slower. Every little touch hit knocks them over. It's way easier to steal the puck from them. And it's as far as I can
and charge passing.
And definitely charge passing. I wasn't even going to get into that. But the game, like, I don't feel like the games are decided, and this is part of, like, it's too much of a sim to me now.
Yeah.
Like,
see, I think I like it because I feel like it's almost like an RPG.
Sure.
Whereas, like, I actually don't play... I play the GM, but there was a shit ton of bugs on the Be a GM this year. Like, I would drop players at the end of a season, and then the next season they'd still be on my roster, but I wouldn't be paying them. But I'd still be able to put them in the lineup.
Oh, nice.
And so I kind of gave up on the Be a GM, but I've been playing the Be a Pro a lot. I'm a huge, like, CHL fan, so I've been doing the Be a CHL player, where you pick a CHL guy from a team and you play through. So I picked a guy that was like 17. You know, I played the first season of the OHL team, went to the draft, got drafted, tried to make the NHL team, didn't, got sent back down, played another full season the O, got called up again, made it this time, now I'm playing it to the NHL. So, like, that was a lot of fun for me to do. And I mean, I don't play every game. I sim most of it, or I sim the first two periods and then play the third. But I mean, that kind of like RPG aspect, whereas I see the player progress through his career and like see the stats, that's what I like about the game.
Fair enough. And we played some NHL 94 recently for Sega CD, the definitive version. And, you know, that it used to be about who's better at NHL 94.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't so much about player ratings and momentum and stuff that didn't matter. I wish they did both. I wish there was a mode where every player is equal.
See, well, you know what?
This is about who is actually better at playing NHL.
Back then, it wasn't about who was better. It was about who knew how to exploit the game more.
Yeah, but then you get better at stopping those exploits.
Yeah, but
too.
Still.
Nah,
I would like you to tell me a move that works 100% of the time in the current games.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I like that there's no exploits, but still, it doesn't even matter because it feels like everything is dice rolls in that game to me, and it's not about how good I am.
That's the thing. I almost like the fact that there are predictable ways to score. Like,
yeah,
because then, like, it is a skill. You learn how to do that, then you learn how to defend against it.
Yeah, but the thing is, the AI adapts now, right? If I go down the wing and I pass it across a slot and the guy top corners it every time, maybe the deal starts sitting there to defend that passing lane. That's what they do in these games now. That's why you're not seeing that happen. Like, you can get that every once in a while, but if you don't have just the right window and you try to make that pass, it's not going to go through.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would obviously say that for sports games, I always prefer arcadey over realism. But
like if I look at this versus Madden, like, Madden is a piece of shit right now. Like, I don't know if you guys have played Madden this year, but like, there's so many issues with like shitty AI, like defenses. Like, I know, like, I listen to a few other podcasts and they talk about how like the linebackers just like elevate to like 20 feet in the air to intercept passes all the time. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's not really a sim at all. It's more like you getting your ass kicked by the computer sim. It's not fun, right? This I feel like, yeah, there are issues, but
I just feel the game's already decided when the puck drops at the beginning.
You just got to get better, Frank.
Based on random assignment.
I think they should release NHL 94, but with updated rosters.
HD collection.
On Xbox Live.
Which has been done PSN. Before, right? Like, they did Madden for the 20th anniversary of Madden with current rosters. And they used Madden 96, so.
It's pretty good.
Could easily be done.
Anyways, yet again onto an NHL sidetrack of 20 minutes.
Needs to be done.
All right. So I got number 5 that I'm guessing is not on any of your lists. It's a pretty interesting game, though. It's called Where Is My Heart? Sounds pretty lame.
On my list.
Great 5440 song.
So this was actually a PSN Mini that was available for free for PlayStation Plus subscribers for a month or so, not too long ago. And so, you know, I just downloaded it on a whim. Didn't really know too much about it, but it's pretty amazing. Like, it's a 2D puzzle platformer type game. Very simple idea. It's kind of like, you know, how we were talking about the Lost Vikings last episode or the episode before. You got 3 different characters. You toggle between them, and they each have certain abilities. But the twist on it is that they start dividing up like basically all you're trying to do is get from the bottom of the level to like a doorway in another part of the level. But what they start doing is dividing up sections of the level into like different windows, like different views into the world, if that makes any sense, and then they mix them up on the screen. So it's you might walk out of one window and then you pop up in another window up top somewhere and then down below, and like it's all mixed up and stuff. And then there's mechanics of like jumping between those, and it's a real mind fuck when you start playing it. But then you slowly start to figure it out, and it's like, I don't know, it's one of the most interesting games I've played this year for sure. And it's pretty short, whatever. It's a PSN mini, but the plus is that you can play it on your PSP. So,
and soon your Vita.
Yes. Definitely check it out. It's worth checking out.
I never even knew that was free, actually. I normally try to grab most of the free stuff that goes on PSN or PlayStation Plus, but I didn't even know that was up. To look into it.
Number 4. Skyrim.
Ooh, I might as well just say this is also my number 4 right now.
All right.
Not higher.
Not
surprising.
I
pretty much swept. Like everything I saw was like number 1 everywhere.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. Like, there's lots of issues with the game. I just like the overall aesthetic, like the look of the I don't know, the scale of the levels. And to me, the biggest thing that really helps create this world is the music.
Yeah.
Like, I love the music and
the atmosphere in general.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm not crazy about all the fighting mechanics and stuff like that, and the heavy RPG elements are not my favorite thing. But out of all Bethesda games, like, just the feel of the world got me this time, as opposed to other ones. Like, yeah. And for dragons too. The dragons are awesome. So
I'm not very far in it. Actually, this is another game I didn't finish. Just add to the list. and I'm only about. I played a little more the other day. I think I'm probably about 8 to 10 hours in, and I don't think I'm barely scratching the surface. But I've traversed quite a bit of the map already, and just like the feel of the world is really like. It really draws you in. This is the type of game I can see myself playing slowly over the course of like a year. And because, they have such a fleshed out journal, you kind of always know what's going on or what you could be doing. You can just leave it for a month, come back, and still be able to enjoy it. I mean, the mechanics are so basic. I mean, there's nothing really there that you can basically just come back and not have really forgotten how to play. It's not like a fast-paced action game where you need your wits about you kind of thing. And, I've only killed one dragon, so I'm not very far at all. But it's just like we were saying, the atmosphere just draws you in, and the storyline, who knows what's going on in the storyline, but...
Yeah, it's... that's the thing with RPGs. Like, it just
especially this is so much lore.
There's
so much lore in it.
When there's a book there with 20 pages you pick up, like...
Yeah, don't read that shit.
I know, but I want to, but it's like, couldn't you... This isn't necessary. Really?
But that's what's neat about it is like... And then you look at just the sheer... I have like a great respect for the art team and the level design team. Like, someone had to go into all those fucking houses and place down all those plates and all those forks and all those loaves of bread and meat and fruit and bowls and shelves and like all that shit and like the 1 or 2 coins scattered about here and there. Like, crazy amounts of work to do that. And I don't know, I would shoot myself if I had to do that.
Well, there's lots of young interns, I'm sure, that are just can't wait to place some bread.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my number 4 is Rayman Origins.
Good game.
Very good game. As I mentioned, with Outland, it's another Ubisoft game. They seem to be pushing forward with very creative, just artist-friendly games where it's like, let the artists go nuts and do their thing. And I think that definitely shows in this game. I mean, I think the visuals are pretty much unlike anything I've seen in a long time. And I mean, I don't even think it should be that hard to make a game that looks this cool and this interesting, but it's just so many games just look the same. They look so generic, and this thing just pops off the screen at you. And, you know, I mean, it is a platformer. You know, it's a Mario Brothers. You know, there's not a ton of new stuff there. I mean, maybe there will be towards the end of the game. I haven't finished it, but, you know, the multiplayer is a lot of fun. The co-op is fun. And, yeah, I mean, I would play this strictly for the visuals, but beyond that, you know, it's just fun to play. Like, it's easy to pick up and play with just about anybody, I think. So I think this one definitely got overlooked by a lot of people this year. It's coming out on 3DS in a couple months.
And Vita.
Pretty curious about how that's going to look. But, yeah, definitely check this one out.
Interesting. Number 3. Batman Arkham City.
Oh, shit.
Talked about it on our last review. Still love the city itself. Not a wasted square inch in that city. Everything's relevant. It's not too big. Easy to traverse.
But enough variety that you can tell exactly where everything is.
Yeah, great map. Like, again, we said it last time. The only thing that kind of sucks is being overwhelmed at the beginning. Once you can filter out the stuff, it's absolutely incredible.
Yep.
Ridiculously good game.
Solid.
My number 3, Deus Ex Human Revolution, or whatever it is.
Wow. Wow.
So this game, like I said, I picked up on Boxing Day. Threw it in, not really expecting too much. It was a game I knew I wanted to play through or at least start before the show, and it blew me away. I mean, I love this game. I basically sat down and just played it through without playing anything else, and yeah, just a lot of fun. Like, really good mechanics. I kind of like did a little bit of both the stealth and the combat. But I thought, like, the boss fights were good. The overall, you know, sneaking and hacking and all that kind of stuff, really well done. Like, really thought out their levels and stuff like that. And what I really like is that there's, like, secondary missions that you don't have to do, and actually sometimes you won't even find if you don't actually go looking for them. And I know, like, the first major mission I didn't find the secondary mission.
The hostages?
Yeah, the hostages.
I can't find them either.
Yeah, I don't know where they are, so I only did it once. I only went through once, but
I think I know where they are on the map, but a lot of guards there.
Yeah.
A lot of guards.
It's but it's fun. I liked it a lot, and I don't know if Frank, I know you played it a bit, obviously, but this game I think everyone should pick up. I think it also is a type of game that flew under the radar quite a bit this year.
I did play it. I'm not crazy about it.
No.
I haven't given it its dues, but it definitely lacks in the character modeling and animation. Like, when you have conversations with people, like, it looks horrible.
Yeah, they definitely have the characters do idle movements way too much. It's a little jarring.
Yeah,
it's kind of like watching, if it was a Mass Effect cutscene, think of everyone gyrating back and forth constantly. Like, that's kind of what they do.
It's not doing itself any favors with that kind of stuff. Let's say that. But, you know, the gameplay is kind of fun so far. I'm not as interested in the figure out how to get from A to B whatever way you want.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite kind of game, but I don't know.
But it's all fairly linear. Like, I mean, there are different ways, but it's not like go 200 feet out of your way that way or 300 out of that way. It's kind of like go 5 feet that way or 10 feet that way. And
I do wish it had a better, like, it doesn't have visual cones for lines of sight for enemies.
You need to upgrade to get that.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's one of your Paraxis upgrades.
Oh, okay. I'm in. Number 2.
Well, I played like maybe an hour of this game because I kind of thought, you know, I should check it out, and I do want to play it. But the weird thing is I started playing it, and like right away at the beginning, I really liked the intro, and then you get to your first mission, the hostage thing, and they're asking you questions of like what kind of weapons you want, right? And like, I know in my head, okay, these are choices that are going to take me down a certain path, but I'm just like, okay, whatever. Like, I pick something. And then already I'm like, I start playing. I'm like, fuck, why did I choose that? This sucks. Because, like, I chose, like, non-lethal and stealth. And then after I played for, like, 10 or 15 minutes, I was like, this sucks. Like, why did I choose this? I just want a heavy weapon and just blow through this.
I picked lethal and, I don't know, whatever gets you the big revolver type weapon. And I don't think I killed a single guy. I stealthed through the whole thing. Except for, like, some rooms where I couldn't get by.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, I don't know what that... Like, I want to go back to the game and give it more time, but I don't know what I'm saying exactly. I think maybe I'm agreeing with Frank in that the idea of, like, having multiple ways to get through something, I don't know if that's...
Another thing I did, the main character, I think his voice, whatever voice they picked for him, does not match him at all. It's terrible.
Though the music of this game is incredible.
I like the music.
Incredible.
But that main character, everything about the main character.
Sounds like he's forcing
the look, the voice, the acting, just ain't clicking, man. That's something you should see right away.
Now, what would you guys say? How would you compare this game to Skyrim? Because, like, it seemed like there was a bit of debate as to, like, they're both sort of these open world. Well, I guess Deus Ex isn't really open world, but I mean, you've got a lot of optional missions and things, and they're both RPGs.
Not that many, though. I would say Deus Ex more of like an action adventure game, and Skyrim's more of a RPG with some action elements.
Yeah. I guess maybe that was another thing that I felt slightly disappointed is I kind of went into Deus Ex. I don't know why I had that mindset, but I was like thinking, I'm going to get to explore and check out the world, and I didn't really, feel like that at all. Yeah, like, it just felt like a shooter for the most part.
Yeah, basically. I mean, you get to kind of wander around the city later on, but it's really not that big of a city. So it's kind of like a few corridors here and there.
All right. So on to my number 3, which is Portal 2. Obviously,
slowly climbing the list.
A little higher than you guys had it, but this was, I think, my most anticipated game of last year, if I remember correctly, and I thought it totally lived up to the hype. I mean, I felt like a lot of people thought Portal 1 was amazing. It's this, experimental indie type game that nobody knew about. And then for some reason Portal 2 came out and they fleshed it out into this big epic game, and they were like, nope, doesn't live up to the first one. And I don't know where that comes from. Like, I think they added so many interesting mechanics and so many interesting puzzles, and I loved the voice acting. I will admit there was a small section in the middle where it was kind of dragging. I think specifically when you kind of start going back through the
aperture,
all that stuff. It kind of went a little too long, I think.
And I think the one thing that I said is the puzzles are no longer puzzles. It's find a wall you can shoot a portal on.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people have said that, and I can kind of...
has anyone else said that? I thought I was the only one who said that.
I've heard other people say that, and I've read other people say that in reviews, and...
It was just you, Frank.
I mean, I agree with that. I agree with that with regards to the traversal stuff, because definitely you're looking to get across a room, and you just need to find something that's white. But I think a lot of the puzzles themselves are still very clever, and the co-op stuff is amazing. So, just throwing that out there.
Amazing, eh?
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. Number 2 for me. Uncharted 3. Drake's Deception.
You're crazy.
I think the game is fantastic. I do not think it's as good as Uncharted 2. I think they tinkered with stuff a little too much. Like, all these systems for, like...
Last time we talked about it, you talked about the hands on the wall?
Yeah.
Wow, is that ever distracting?
It's too much. Like, too much ambient stuff, too much IK, too much pose blending for, like, every time you turn and stuff like that. They over-animated the shit out of this game.
Like, I must say, the one thing that... I think if they cut this out, when you bump into people and you falling off them and, like, getting all, like offset by hitting things... That drove me crazy.
Yeah.
I just want to fucking cut this corner close. I don't need to know I slightly touched it with my hip and now I'm falling backwards. Just let me turn around.
When you were first talking about that, like I was thinking, okay, it's like a thing to, like, as you're walking through the room to make it look like you're alive and you're interacting with the room. But it's not just that. Like, it seemed like they had a very specific thing where they wanted to solve this issue of characters just kind of running into a wall and looking stupid, right? They wanted to make it look like he's reacting to that. And if you do that, if you run straight into a wall, it looks pretty good. But how often do you do that in a game? Like, you just brush past something and all of a sudden he twists around and it really is distracting. It's weird.
I do find it funny though when you go through a doorway and he's like feeling up both doorways.
Nobody does that. Ooh. That's why it was so good in the first one, in the submarine. Yeah. When you do your little fucking pull through the submarine, like
that hooked me.
Like what? As soon as you recognize something as being a system, to me it loses like almost all of its appeal. If you can make a system with the illusion of it being one-off and unique, that's the ultimate goal. But as soon as you're recognizing things, like, it totally loses its wow factor when you pick up that it's just a system. And that's where where they fell short on this. Also, why they made Elena all of a sudden have Taylor Swift eyes, I don't know. It's a disgrace. She was so beautiful in the first two, and now she looks like a weirdo. Well, they fucked with her. Like, they just fucked with shit too much because they could. Like, and I hate when series do that. But obviously, it's number 2 on my list.
Number 2.
I fucking loved it. But those are my 2 nitpicks about the game. But it started at the beginning. Like, Naughty Dog is the master of ripping shit off. Like, they ripped off the cover system from Gears. They ripped off some of the mechanics from Tomb Raider, I guess, any action game, polished it up to fucking perfection, and fucking threw a good story on it, right? That's all you have to do.
Yep.
Now, where could they improve? Puzzles, maybe, I would think, would be one.
This game was a little light on the puzzles,
but I thought the puzzles they did have were awesome. But they ripped off a puzzle. Like, like, the perspective puzzles in Batman, to me, are my favorite puzzles in games, like in the detective mode.
Right.
And they ripped that off beautifully in this game, and they elevated it, right? Like the mural. So, like, they're really good at looking at a great idea and making it as good as it can be. And I could see how you could point fault at that, too, but they also do other things amazing.
Talking about the one when you reflect the light?
No, where you have
shoulders?
Where you have to line up the body parts.
Yeah, and the light with the light cone. To create the shadow on the wall?
Yeah. But just the way they expanded some of the systems, like anything with cover, going up walls, awesome. How they took the combat system and threw it in the water, like free roaming in the water, was amazing. Like, the water fights were probably my favorite thing in the game. The look of the sand and the falling sand towards the end of the game looked incredible.
Yeah.
Haven't got there yet.
The Sully story aspects were pretty good, I think. Like, I think everybody loves Sully.
Yeah.
It was good to see more of him. I'm
going to argue.
So many people I know have not even played an Uncharted game.
Yeah, it's
and I don't know what the fuck they're doing. Like,
these are the cream of the crop games.
Yeah.
Out there.
It drives me nuts. I'd say the top 2 games on my list. I know tons of people haven't even touched them.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I know a lot of my friends have PS3s, and I'm like, you have to play these Uncharted games, and they don't. They just kind of like, yeah.
I'll play some more Skyrim.
All right.
Fuck. My number 2, Batman Arkham City, and we don't really need to talk about it because it's amazing.
Also my number 2, so I'll just jump in right there. Yeah, I mean,
now, if it was Ninja Turtles, would it be number 1?
Probably.
Of course.
And
of course it would.
But I mean, this is the thing. You kind of run into issues where, with sequels, people don't want to put a sequel high on their list, or they don't want to give it a perfect rating because they're like, well, this has been done before, And I think, like, a lot of these games that we're talking about, they've improved on things about as well as you possibly can. And I think Batman Arkham City, like most games, I will beat a game and I'll never go back to it. Like, that's just, I don't have time to go back and 100% it, or like try and play through it again with new characters or whatever. Batman Arkham City is a game I want to go back and do all the Riddler trophies like that. There's so much in that game beyond the main story, and the main story is amazing. So,
dare I say, the peripheral activities are more fun than the main story itself.
Could be, yeah. I mean, this is...
Dare I say it?
I think so.
This is a world that I enjoyed exploring, and I think, something like Deus Ex, maybe, like, that kind of stuff is, if more games could incorporate that and make me feel like this is a world that I just want to hang out in and look around and take my time to, not have to rush from point A to point B. That's something special right there.
I mentioned it in the other one, in the last podcast, was that they are masters of the whole, like, dangling the carrot in front of your face technique. They'll show you the Riddler trophy, and you might not be able to get it right now, but you now know it's there. Right, and you have to come back once you have whatever tool you need to do it.
Right.
And like Zelda does it, Mario does it, Metroid does it, and those games are all awesome. It's kind of like you see your goal, but you can't do it, and you might try to get it then, but you eventually fail and you can't do it. You leave, so that when you come back and you see it and you get it, it's kind of like this, like, holy shit, I figured it out. That was awesome.
Yeah, and a lot of times you won't even know what it is you need, but then when you get it, you're like, oh,
that's right.
That'll work for that.
See, I don't like that.
No?
No, if I can't get this yet, I wish the game would say, you can't get this yet. I don't want to waste my fucking time.
Well, but I think after a while it becomes clear, right?
It's a puzzle, though.
Sometimes not.
Some of those puzzles are good. Too many of them are bad. Are a bad thing, I think.
Yeah, I just wish it would say, guess what, bud? Don't waste your time. You can't even do it. You can't even do it.
In that case, though, they shouldn't even have it at that point in the game.
Well, like
for
the city
case.
stuff. Yeah, like it's, I don't know.
But I mean, let's not forget, like, they pretty much give you all the stuff you had at the end of Arkham City or Arkham Asylum at the beginning of this game, and then they keep adding new stuff, new gadgets, new characters. Like, it's just, like, the amount of stuff that's packed in here is crazy.
Superb.
That's a word you could maybe use to describe your next one.
Oh, yes. This wasn't even a doubt in my mind from the second I threw this game in.
The second you threw it in?
Second. The loading screen.
Whoa.
Rayman Origins. What a game. What a game. Now, I played it a lot when it first came out. Kind of put it to the wayside. Fired it up again recently. And even when from one day to the next, putting the game back in, every time I look at this game, it blows my mind and visually shocks me how good it looks.
Yep.
It is the best looking game I've ever seen in my life. It is incredible.
And this is the thing, too. I wanted to bring up this point that it's time to get away from photorealism and, like, who can make, a game that looks so real. Like, okay, we've got pretty close. Fuck it. Who cares? Let's go back to making artistic, visually unique games.
I love how the levels are it's not a sand level, a fire level. Like, it's just crazy ideas that look cool.
Yeah.
Like, everything and every level looks different, it doesn't have anything annoying. Like, every mechanic for a platformer adds to the game. And it doesn't make things more complicated. Like, it is a perfect platformer to me. Like, I love trying to speed through the levels. It just does everything right. It's the only game that felt like a next-gen upgrade to me this year. Like, Uncharted 3 was very similar to 2. And, like, a lot of these games are sequels. But this game, for the first time, I saw a next-gen platformer. I'd never seen one, now I have. This is what a platformer is going forward. It's incredible.
Amen.
What more people need to play this game? And I almost made my most anticipated game of 2012, Rayman Origins for the Vita. And number 2, Rayman Origins for 3DS, because I'm going to buy them all.
Wow.
I can't wait to play it on Vita.
Hook, line, and sinker.
Love it.
Amazing.
Congratulations. Is it Michel Ancel?
I think so.
Yeah. What a guy. What a guy.
All right.
Number 1, Uncharted 3.
Ooh.
Now, going back to what Frank said, how he thinks Uncharted 2 is better, I'm going to disagree with you on that.
Go for it.
I felt there was Uncharted 2's ending was weaker. And I thought
the last boss was terrible.
Yeah, I thought Uncharted 3, the whole ending where it goes like all Uncharted 2, where it goes all supernatural and shit, like just they screwed it
That's
up
what
there.
I kept hearing about this one too. They do that in this one too. Those guys who disappear.
Whoa.
Yeah, but no, he's tripping out, that's why.
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure he's tripping. If you, at the end, when he drinks the water,
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
because he
I
drank the water. Yeah, he drank the water. He's tripping.
I don't like that, by the way. The manipulation they do there.
No.
I hate that.
Well, it ties all into the beginning when he's tripping down the other alley, too.
I know, but no, I didn't
With
mean
the
that.
dart.
I meant the...
Spoilers.
Easy.
I feel like they should have completely just ripped off the end of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and they didn't.
Okay, sure.
I don't know if that means anything to you right now, what I'm saying. But if Sean wasn't here, I would say exactly what I mean.
And spoil it for all the listeners.
Well, yeah. Well, the only other thing is, I do think that the beginning of Uncharted 3 is very slow.
Yeah.
Like the first, I think, 4 chapters.
When you're the kid and searching through and
horrible.
touching every fucking glass case.
Really
and,
slow. I was actually really like scared for this game at that point, because I had played through and I was like, oh man, if the wrestling game's this slow, I'm gonna lose it, because I had really high hopes for this game. But after you get through that sort of slow section, this game just ramps up constantly and is constantly getting better. My own, like, everything else about the game other than the beginning, just amazing. The only other thing is, I felt like there's a level later on, I don't know if you got in here, Dwyer, where there's like a sandstorm and you get kind of lost in the sand.
Yeah.
I felt that was very similar to the snowstorm level from Uncharted 2, where I think it's chapter 12 in Uncharted 2, where you're kind of like, very, very similar. Even the layouts of the kind of things felt kind of similar. But other than that, like, how they ramp up from the streets to where they go next, to the...
Is it Morocco?
Morocco, maybe. Yeah, and then to the plane, to the sand, to the boat, like, just crazy.
That is the great, like,
so amazing.
Uncharted series in general, the pacing is phenomenal.
Yeah,
right?
And I mean, just even the tech of the, like, water on the boat, and I think it's the level that really, like, blew my mind was when you're on the docks and the storm blows in and shit's just going wild. And that was just like, holy, this game is
I really wish
awesome.
the E3 demo wouldn't have been the boat level.
Yeah.
Because I think that would have... It's kind of like the same effect I had with God of War 3.
Yeah.
I think if I hadn't seen the opening video so many times, it would have, like, rocked my world on the first viewing, right? Like, playing it, but...
That was the thing. I did know it was coming, and so it did kind of ruin it, but at the same time, like, once you get there and how they flip the boat, and then you're kind of like seeing it from a completely different perspective, amazing. So good. Can't say enough.
Hurry up, do I beat this game?
You guys are crazy.
Let's make your number 1 already. We all know you want to.
My number 1, Uncharted 3.
How do you beat it?
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised actually that this was so high for all of us, because I kept hearing from so many people like, it's good, it's not amazing, you know? And like on all the top 10 lists, I'm seeing it at like number 5, number 8. And like at the time when I was reading a lot of this stuff, I hadn't played much of it. But then, you know, over the holidays in the last couple of weeks, I was like, okay, I'm going to try and cram in a bunch of games that I want to get in before this. And the whole time I just kept thinking, I'd rather be playing Uncharted 3. I want to go back and play Uncharted 3. And so after a while, I was like, it's a sign, man. Uncharted 3, it's got to be. So I just kept playing it, and like I'm probably about 75% done now. So I'm getting close. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know what people are talking about in terms of it being, you know, maybe it's not, I'd say it's probably on par with Uncharted 2 for me. Like I feel like they added so many things. The hand-to-hand combat is amazing. Like, that's the one thing that was missing from Uncharted 2. Like, that's, like, especially for a game that's sort of going for the Indiana Jones thing, like, they nailed it. Like, it feels so, like, it's not like, you can tell they kind of borrowed a little bit from Arkham City.
Yeah, for sure.
But it feels, like, kind of sloppy and, like, that sort of, like, not trained martial artist fighting way.
Very Indiana Jones-esque.
Exactly. And, like, you know, like, obviously the barroom brawl at the beginning is awesome.
Oh, totally reminded me of, I didn't even know I was playing at that point. Like,
when they give
the
you
opening
the control,
the opening cutscene is like a close-up on your face and like a guy right beside you, and I probably stood there for about 10 seconds like, what the fuck, let's go. What is this scene doing? And then you move and the camera zooms out, and I was like, holy shit, like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Totally immersive. And the other thing is, like, all the close-up shots as they're, like, going through, particularly when the guy that breaks his leg, I don't know his name, the big guy that's with you, your bud.
Jason Statham?
Yeah, the Jason Statham lookalike. Yeah. There's, like, a lot of scenes where you're traveling through small corridors and there's, like, conversations going on with the torches and stuff, and the camera angle work on those is, like, really, really nice how they handle all that stuff.
The one reason why I say 2 is better for me, I find that the enemy setups were not coming, like, where I expected them to come from. Like, I would die from a guy who was behind me.
Yeah, and I did find some of that.
How? I had no idea that an enemy would be coming from there. Like, where in 2, it's very clear where the threats come from. And
especially in this one, too, it's not even like doors open to let guys in. They just, like, appear out of corners.
Exactly. And that, to me, is one of the bigger problems with the game.
I think the AI is too good, maybe, in this game. Like, I think the people adapt so much and move around you so much, and they throw grenades constantly. Like, you can't sit in one spot.
What difficulty were you playing at?
Normal.
Okay.
I was playing on hard.
But
I only died like twice, and it was from.
Really, I died a lot more.
It was from, but it was from situations like that where I'm like, I had no idea there's a dude there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I wanted to mention too. Like, I think, you know, you can tell a great game sometimes from the beginning. You know what I mean? And, like, I don't know if we mentioned Batman Arkham City. I thought that had an awesome opening where it's like you're Bruce Wayne and you still get to fight as Bruce Wayne and all that stuff. But Uncharted 3, like, I liked all the stuff as the kid. Like, I agree it was a little slow, but I thought from, like, a storytelling perspective, like, I was so interested. I was like, oh, these characters actually have a history, and it's like, this is cool.
How dashing is Sully as a middle-aged man.
And again, you're talking about Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Clearly, they borrowed that from it as well.
They need to suck whoever wrote that movie. But when you get to the end, you're going to see, like, the one part where they really should have borrowed from it, they don't.
Okay. Interesting.
And it feels cheap. I can't wait till you get there.
But, like, and another thing, like, a lot of people have said, you know what, it's great, but the story isn't as good, or the story isn't that good, or whatever. And, like, I don't know what people expect from these games, but, like, maybe, you know, the whole sort of plot is not super easy to follow or, like, amazingly crafted, like, but, like, from moment to moment, like, when I'm watching a cutscene, I never want to skip it. I always want to know exactly what's going on.
Have you gone to the airplane part? They showed that in, like, E3 stuff. We're hanging out the back of the airplane.
No.
That part blew my mind too. So awesome.
But yeah, like, they keep doing these set pieces, and, like, I guess, you know, that's what they did in the second game, but they keep upping the ante and, like, making it bigger and bigger. And, you know, again, some people feel like, oh, I'm just playing a cinematic, or, you know,
I don't find that in this game though, because like, the water fighting is a perfect example. It's a huge area with boats, and, like, you're jumping out of the water into the water trying to fight these guys, and it's not on autopilot at all. It's up to you to be good at the game, find cover, do whatever you got to do. Like, I do find that the hand combat is a little more on autopilot, but for the shooting stuff, it's all skill.
Yeah.
Now,
headshots are key.
There were some issues with control stuff that a lot of people were talking about when this game first came out. And I have to admit, when I first started playing it, I was like, something feels weird here. And then I think they came out with an update because I went in the settings and there's like a thing you can turn on.
Yeah.
And
like 3D shooting versus 2D or something, right?
I don't know what it was, but that basically fixed my issue. I still think the stuff you guys are talking about, like touching the walls all the time, like it's
just distracting. It's not like a flaw per se.
Well, I do find that control precision for movement sometimes is a little bit problematic with that, but overall, like, it's never frustrating, and I'm always enjoying myself playing this game. Like,
it's like you're playing an Indiana Jones movie. Yeah. Like, that's it.
Yeah, and like I hear people talking all the time about, you know what? Yeah, it's the summer blockbuster of video games, and they kind of say that as if it's like, that's cool, but you know, that's not high art or whatever. But like, I honestly think for a video game, that is something to aspire towards, you know, to actually feel like you're in a summer blockbuster and to be involved in that. That's like a crazy thing. And
yeah,
I feel like God of War 3 got a bad rap the same way too. Like, I replayed that this year. That game is amazing. Like, so good. So polished. Like, I don't know, I just feel like there'd been so many God of Wars that it's just like, yeah, it looks really good, but it's God of War still. But
I wonder if they're starting to fall into the sort of Nintendo reuse trap where, like, yeah, it's just another Mario, it's just another Zelda. Like, we've seen these characters so much now that they're not interesting anymore. I wonder if that's what these characters are starting to fall into.
Which is weird, because I don't feel like Assassin's Creed, if any game is milking, and Modern Warfare, if any games milk themselves, it's those. And those games don't seem to be affected by it. I don't know.
Especially Modern Warfare, it's so strange.
Yeah.
well, I mean, but that's relying on the multiplayer.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we'll probably talk a little bit about that when we get to what's coming up in 2012 and stuff, like the problems with sequels and things. But for me, Uncharted 3 is best of the year for sure.
One thing I want to mention before is that one game that came out this year that no one's mentioning, us or anyone, is Killzone 3.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking back to it, like, you know, I definitely like Killzone 2 better. And I think one of the big driving factors to me not wanting to replay Killzone 3 was that they removed the collection aspect to the game. You know, you used to be able to collect suitcases and shoot down the symbols, right? And I find the same thing with Uncharted, right? If they took out the little artifacts you find, I'd probably still go back because the story's so good, but that is going to be one of the big driving factors. It's that puzzle aspect, because I thought I was getting a shit ton of the artifacts. I beat the game, and I think I had 50 or 60. So that means I missed 40% of the artifacts that are out there hidden. So now I want to go find them. And I found the same thing with Killzone 2. When I beat Killzone 2, I was looking for them, but not really seriously looking for them. But then when I beat it, I wanted to go back. It gave me a reason to go back, play it on a higher difficulty as well. And Killzone 3 didn't have that. And I think that sort of like additional aspect to the game actually helps its longevity in the long run and helps people's view of the game. And I think some games are actually going away from that, and I think that's a mistake.
Yeah. I think it's all about like not overdoing it.
Yeah.
Like not having 300 things to find.
Yeah.
Like just
like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to do a quick list of stuff I haven't played yet, but want to.
Oh, well, first, do we have any honorable mentions?
No, I do not do honorable mentions.
You don't do them? All right, well, I got a few. I want to give a shout-out to Tales from Space about a blob. Love the game. Looking forward to the Vita.
Vita is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Bastion, which, I feel like that, out of all the Xbox Live Arcade games, this is the one that's getting the most love out there. And I played a bit of it on Steam, and it's good. I like the narration thing. That's definitely interesting, and the art style is cool. But I think ultimately, as much as I had played, it felt like just an action RPG. And I like those kinds of games, but it wasn't blowing me away. It wasn't anything all that original. I think the narration thing is sort of the one unique element there. As I mentioned, L.A. Noire, I think deserves an honorable mention. But, it's more of a la Quentin Tarantino, nice try, I would say. But I wanted to give a shout out to Spell Tower because, I had to get an iPhone or iOS game in here somewhere. Pretty awesome word game, very addictive, although it may have been trumped by a game that just came out this week called Puzzle Juice. Check that out. It's like Tetris meets Boggle, like literally one and the other combined. It's pretty crazy.
Juice.
Yeah. And I wanted to mention also Super Brothers Sword and Sorcery EP, which, I wasn't crazy about, had some issues with, but I feel like it's still a pretty cool and interesting try. I don't know. So there was a few things that frustrated me about it. I would like to give it another shot, maybe on the iPad. Anything for you, Huck City?
No.
All right. So games we didn't play.
I did not play Infamous 2, Child of Eden, Gunstringer, Battlefield 3, Demon Souls. I even tried to buy Battlefield 3.
Oh, Demon Souls, yeah. I forgot
for this, but I couldn't find it. Was still $60. You gotta drop that price. Little Big Planet 2. Just started getting into Gears of War. Not enough to say how I feel about it yet, because I think a lot of that hinges on the ending of the game. I think that's it.
My list's a little longer, but Sonic Generations, Rayman Origins for sure. Catherine.
Yeah, that's
Skyward Sword, which I never played and probably will never play, but I thought I'd list it. Gears 3 as well, Battlefield 3, The Witcher 2 on PC. One game which is probably going to surprise everyone, Top Spin 4. I downloaded the demo for this, and I go back and play that demo probably once a week.
Really?
And it's just one match, Federer versus Nadal, but I love it. I think it's such a good game, and I've been trying to find it on eBay for like pretty cheap, but I think it's kind of rare now.
Really?
And it's still like $40-$50 on eBay. What a
bitch.
Yeah. Bastion. Saints Row the Third, which I've been hearing crazy good things about.
I have zero interest in Saints Row.
See, I had no interest either. I played the first one quite a bit. Didn't play the second one at all, but this third one seems like it's getting a lot of love.
I'd give it a shot, I think.
I don't know. Everything I see about the first two games and this one just makes me want to vom.
It just seems like they're totally not taking themselves seriously at all, which I can appreciate.
That's gross.
That's it for me as far as wish I played.
All right, stuff that I played but didn't play enough to really consider. Skyward Sword, Bulletstorm, Gears of War 3, Deus Ex Human Revolution, and Aliens Infestation for the DS, which I really wanted to play because I really wanted to give it a chance, and I feel like
that
nobody's
game comes
talking
up every
about
show.
It. But yeah, I haven't really played much of it. Also, Dead Island. I was liking it.
Dead Island almost made my list.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Something I did not play at all, Skyrim. I don't know if it would have made my list. It could be. I mean, I want to play it. And it's a possibility for a review.
I don't think you have the patience for that.
Well, I did. I played both Morrowind and Oblivion, but not that much. I just kind of liked wandering around the world.
Did you beat it on level 2 like I did?
No, I did not. I think that's it. I don't know. Are there any other? Infamous 2. I kind of wanted to play Alice Madness Returns, and
that wasn't bad. Actually, I gave some consideration to Shadow of the Damned as well, but I haven't played it enough.
Right.
I actually liked what I played.
I played the 1-hour demo on PlayStation Plus, Infamous 2, and really did not like it.
You have an agenda against Infamous.
I don't have an agenda. I just don't like it.
It's amazing. Oh, there's pop in it. You could see the level in the first one. You could see the stuff pop in the back of the level.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't care about that.
That's what you said.
I just find the combat not very good. Yeah, believe it. And they didn't add anything to 2. It's the same. They added a stick. You can use a stick now. A lightning stick.
Zap. Use it.
All right, so is that it for 2011?
Anticipation?
Yeah.
All right. So moving on, 2012. I think it's going to be an interesting year.
I think it's going to be a terrible year.
Well, that's why I think it's going to be interesting because
are we
looking at it right now,
We doing a top 10 or top 5? I got 10
5.
ready to go.
I got 5.
I couldn't even come up with 5 was a stretch for me.
I got some honorable mentions.
When I looked at the games that were coming, couldn't be
10
less
easy
excited.
ones.
Well, so here's the thing. Like, I think looking at the list right now, there's not a ton of huge games planned. And we already know that there's lots of talk about the next consoles being in development. Like, I'm guessing we're going to hear something this year about that.
Nintendo said Wii U will be out this year.
Oh, they have?
So it'll be interesting to see
that's definitely
what the launch titles are.
Yeah. But I think
Super Mario 64 HD.
I just hope they have a fucking something comparable to achievements and trophies. Honestly, if Nintendo did that, I would probably just play Nintendo games.
What if they...
You wouldn't.
I really would.
No,
what if they
wouldn't.
went back through all their virtual console games and added achievements?
I'd rebuy them all. Like, I really would.
All right, well...
I can see them doing that then.
Yeah, maybe.
I really think they should. Like, I don't know.
But I guess what I'm saying is it's a year right now where there's lots of room for some interesting unknown game to come out of nowhere and surprise you.
Oh, and I just thought of 2 new launch titles. Wii U Sports and Wii U Play.
I think another launch title is rumored to be Pikmin 3, which does tantalize me quite a bit.
Interesting. All right, so should we get into this?
Sure.
What are you going to do, Huxley? Are you going to do your 10 or are you just
I'll do 5. I'll just quickly go over the other 5 before or after.
My number 5, Kid Icarus Uprising. I think that's what it's called. Is it Uprising?
Yep.
Okay. Kid Icarus. I think it's going to be really interesting to see a new type of 3DS game. Looking forward to trying the extension for the analog.
Yeah, right.
The one thing, I think my biggest problem with the 3DS right now is it doesn't feel comfortable in my hands at all. Like I feel like my hands.
Because you got man hands.
I got baby hands. I got little girl hands, and it's really uncomfortable to me. I don't know. I'm really hoping the Vita just sits in there, real nice. But we'll see.
I don't know. From what I've seen in the Vita, it's not that comfortable.
Oh.
But that's just me.
First hand.
Because you got the bottom touchscreen, so it's really hard to.
But I did.
It's really hard to finger it.
I did.
Well, it's hard to not finger it is the problem.
I did think, from what I've seen in the trailers, there's some interesting humor in Kid Icarus.
Yeah. I've seen some of the trailers.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I like how they're not rushing the game at all.
It's always a good sign.
Do Nintendo ever rush games?
No, that's what I mean. Like, they got balls.
They got money. That's what they have. All right, my number 5. Final Fantasy 13-2.
Oh, God.
I did. So I haven't seen
next week.
Yeah, I know. I haven't seen any of the trailers or anything. I just know that I really like the battle system of Final Fantasy 13. I heard they're kind of like making this one a little more traditional. So I'm kind of excited about that. Although that's only what I've heard.
Interesting.
Yep. Apparently they're putting towns back in it.
Oh, that's what I liked about that one.
I have not played a Final Fantasy game since Final Fantasy Tactics for the DS. No, DS? Game Boy Advance. Sorry.
Nice.
Actually, that's not true. I also played Crystal Chronicles for the GameCube.
Ugh.
I don't like full-blown Final Fantasy bullshit.
You played Mystic Quest, I bet.
No, I missed out on that one. Okay, so my number 5 is also Kid Icarus Uprising.
Wow.
And they just announced that I think if you pre-order, you get the original Kid Icarus, the 3D Classics version. So I'm looking forward to that. But I just think it's like, Nintendo's good at holding on to these franchises for a while and then bringing them out all of a sudden when you're like, yes, we've been waiting for this. And I'm very curious to see what an updated Kid Icarus is like.
I was just reading something that mentioned a Nintendo franchise that's probably going to, that could be the next one that's been gone for a long time. What was it?
2D Metroid, please?
No. What was it? I don't know, maybe it'll come to me. Number 4 for me. I don't know if this is actually going to come out this year. I tried to pick stuff that I know is coming out this year. The South Park RPG.
Yes.
I'll just say right now, that's actually my number 4 as well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I just know, as soon as I heard that one of the classes was Jew,
This is the thing. Like, it's kind of...
it's got a lot of potential.
Well, it's being worked on with the writers, right? Trey Parker and Matt
so.
Stone. So the humor is going to be there.
And it's developed by Obsidian, who have done lots of RPGs over the years, including
Fallout New Vegas,
Knights of the Old Republic 2, Neverwinter Nights. But yeah, I see. I'm not a huge RPG guy in terms of pure, general, your average RPG. But if you give me an RPG and you put like an interesting modern twist on it or a sense of humor or something, and I'm very interested. And it kind of reminds me of like the Penny Arcade RPG that they came out with a while back.
You know what I wish they did? I wish they took Costume Quest
yeah,
and put South Park around it.
sure.
Just
yeah.
maybe
Done deal.
and added the humor in there.
That's
that
what I'm
whole,
hoping this will be, something like that.
Yeah, be awesome. All right, my number 4, GTA 5. I don't know if it's coming out this year.
I don't think so.
But I don't know. I've just had an itching the last couple days to go back and replay, or at least play a bit of GTA 4, which means that it's the perfect time for a GTA 5 to come out for me personally. And I don't know. I saw the trailer, looked like a GTA game, didn't really blow me away, but just the fact that I've been feeling like I want to play a GTA game has made me more hyped up for this game.
Probably check it out.
Maybe.
All right.
I guess back to Frank.
Number yeah, you said it. Number 3. I wish I could, if I can't remember the title. Metal Gear Rising. And what's the...
Revengeance?
Revenge. I don't know. I'm excited for a Platinum Games action in the Metal Gear universe. What can I say?
Now,
Should be interesting.
Is that confirmed for 2012?
I hear people are saying no, but I'm like, it's got to. It's been delayed for so long.
But the first trailer we saw was just like November.
Slicing watermelons?
Right?
Oh.
No, there was one last year at E3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the slicing watermelons one.
Yeah, it's got to be coming.
All right.
My number 3, South Park RPG.
Good choice. All right, my number 3 is Diablo 3.
Ooh.
And I don't know how you guys feel about this, but it's probably not on my list for the reason you'd expect. I've actually never played a Diablo game.
Me neither.
Oh, really? You guys are nuts.
This is the thing. I've played tons of games that were inspired by Diablo, and I've loved all those games.
Really? Wow.
So I feel like when this comes out, we all know...
blow your socks off.
Yeah,
man.
we all know the level of polish that Blizzard puts into their games.
Demands.
But, yeah, I'm pretty excited for this.
Number 2, Mass Effect 3.
Ooh, I didn't expect to see that on your top 5.
No?
Actually, no.
Oh, I can't wait. I love the first 2. So, I just got to finish Mass Effect 2 for PS3 before it comes out.
I haven't even finished Mass Effect 2 for the Xbox that I bought. I've been meaning to get back to it. I love Mass Effect 1, but never got to around to 2. My number 2, Diablo 3. Now, I've actually played 1 and 2. Played the shit out of 1. Played a bit of 2. Didn't beat it, but it's so good. It's perfect. And I never played Torchlight or whatever other games have come out that are similar to Diablo.
Yeah,
clones,
I've been meaning to play Torchlight because I have it on Steam. And I was thinking about that. Torchlight 2 is supposed to come out last year, right?
I think so.
Did it?
I don't think it did.
No, it didn't come out. And so they're kind of screwed because now they're going to come out right at the same time Diablo 3 comes out.
Well, Diablo 3 got delayed, eh?
Yeah, but it's still going to be out sometime this year.
Yeah. Who's going to win?
People don't remember if games are late. Only if they're great.
Exactly. But, so what, Diablo 2, I don't know if that's actually available anywhere.
Yeah, you can go buy it at the store right now.
But would you say that's worth playing? Would that still hold up today?
Yeah, I would think it would.
Because that might be
It's just
something
a
I'd
dungeon
like to check
crawler.
out.
It's really just like Torchlight with, not quite as a... Well, I don't know. I never played Torchlight, but it's really not that cartoony. It's more dark and gruesome, and I don't know. The music's fucking amazing in all those games. The atmosphere is really good. Randomly generated dungeons, which is pretty cool. So really, like, you know, you play the first level 100 times, you're probably going to get something different every time, which is pretty neat.
Cool. My number 2, Tomb Raider. Talked about it a bit last year. I think, you know, they're reinventing the series. Hopefully, you know, kind of drawing some inspiration now from Uncharted, who obviously drew a bit of inspiration from them in the first place. So it's kind of circular, but I think it's time for a new, really good Tomb Raider game, and I think this could be it.
I'm also looking forward to that game. Number 1. I think we're all going to have the same number 1.
I don't think so.
What? No? BioShock Infinite, hands down, not even close. Game looks amazing.
Not even on my top 10.
You're brutal. The artwork is incredible. And I love the idea of the Sky City. Couldn't be more excited for BioShock.
If you have to backtrack...
You don't backtrack that much in BioShock.
Thing, I'm going to lose it.
You really don't backtrack at all.
You do in BioShock 1?
Not a lot.
Too much for me.
Well, it's my number 1 as well.
Of course it is.
My number 1, probably you guys don't even know what this is. Xenoblade Chronicles for the Wii.
Yeah, I know what it is.
I think we know what it is.
It was released in Europe last year, and it's finally getting released in North America.
Oh, well, European listeners are pissed that my number 1 then, but we don't have it here yet, so... I don't know, I've been hearing really good things about this RPG.
Number 1.
A little excited about it.
You and your JRPGs.
You and your backtrack and action games.
All right, so what are honorable mentions or your 6 to 10?
A whole bunch of RPGs here. Ni no Kuni, which
What
I think
is that?
I don't know. It's like it's an RPG. Big surprise. It's actually the art style is like done. I think the character models, it's 3D, but the character models and the artwork is done by like an animation house, so it looks like a living cartoon. It's not. I don't think it's cel shaded. It's just very high quality,
like Rayman.
Yeah, like Rayman, except it's 3D. But everyone's, I don't know, people are jacked up about it because of the art style. It looks like a live action cartoon, essentially, if that makes any sense at all. Mass Effect 3, which we talked about. Journey, I'm excited about. I love Flower, so I'm interested to see what those guys have to do next. I saw that a Game of Thrones game may be coming out, kind of riding on the heels of the show and the books. I don't really know how it's going to translate to a game. So
like there's something you could take Mass Effect or Skyrim.
Yeah. Dragon Age. I don't like the book is really more about like politics. I don't know how it's going to necessarily relate to a game.
Yeah, I don't
So
like. Is it an
interested.
RPG?
I don't know what it's supposed to be.
I think it comes out like in March or something.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be an RPG, but I don't know. And the other thing, which I just happened to see, is Zone of the Enders HD collection.
Yeah.
I never played those ones, but I've heard a lot about them, heard they're really good, and I'm really interested to see them coming out.
They're okay.
Yeah.
You can come play it at the Retro Game Lounge.
Oh, maybe I'll take you up on that.
Not in HD, though.
Yeah, not in HD.
All right, I got a few honorable mentions. Max Payne 3.
Oh, yeah.
Looking forward to this. I actually think the choice of setting it in Rio de Janeiro and all that stuff, like the favelas and stuff, pretty interesting, I think. I think it's going to be pretty cool. I Am Alive. You guys seen anything about this game?
Not lately.
Post-apocalyptic game. I think it's part of the Xbox Live House Party thing. It's coming out soon, like I think in February.
Oh, really?
But looks pretty sweet. Prey 2. Played the first Prey, and I liked it, but it was kind of generic. It seems like they're really reinventing this franchise. Curious to see where it goes. Resident Evil 6, I don't know. The trailer didn't do much for me, but I know I'm going to play it. There's a few other Resident Evil games coming out this year as well, including the 3DS game, which apparently is getting good reviews so far. Fez, little Xbox Live Arcade game that's
cool.
been in the works for forever, it seems like. But
the makers of Cave Story
should hopefully be out this year. And
did you download that Seal game they made?
No.
No? What's it called?
I heard of it.
Azarashi?
Yeah, I heard about it, but is it available? Oh, iPhone?
Yeah. You just gotta stop these things. It's actually... That's all you do. This guy probably made like fucking 100 G's off that piece of shit. It's pretty cool, but come on, give me a little more.
What do you do, tap a seal?
Yeah.
Did you find Cave Story 3D anywhere by any chance?
I have seen it.
I'm kind of interested in that. We didn't mention the PlayStation Vita.
I was just in my honorable mentions. I almost just put like the Vita in general as number one because I am so excited for this system. There's about 10 games at launch I want to buy. Like I've never had a launch system with so many things I want, and they're all like rehashes too, and I don't care.
Yeah.
Look, except for like even Escape Plan and Gravity Rush are supposed to be amazing too. So I'll definitely be picking up About a Blob, Super Stardust HD,
Plants vs. Zombies.
No, there's a couple other ones that are only on PSN. Like there's probably 4 games on PSN I'm going to buy that day. Probably going to buy, well, I'm getting Uncharted for free with it and Little Deviants. So check those out. Going to buy Hot Shots Golf, probably Wipeout, probably Rayman, probably Gravity Rush, maybe a couple other things. And I might take a few days off work and
just do that.
So for Tales of Space, right? If you already bought it on PSN, do you have to buy like the Vita version?
Yes.
Full
This
price?
is a different game, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a whole new game. It's like the sequel.
I think they'll be able to do some really cool stuff with touch controls
Cool.
too.
Yeah, I'm just wondering about like Plants vs. Zombies too. You know, that's been out on a ton of different systems. I wonder if it's going to be the exact same or...
There will be some, like... I know they said for... They're going to re-release the Metal Gear HDs on Vita as well. And you transfer... That was the whole transferring thing with Kojima. And you can transfer your PS3 versions and pick up where you were. But
it's good.
Kind of interested to see how trophies work out with that kind of stuff. And honestly, I think PlayStation's whole model is... like... Eventually, like there'll be packages where a new game will come out on both systems simultaneously.
It'll be like your Blu-ray releases with your DVD pack.
Yeah, and your cloud saving is going to carry across both platforms, and it will be that for every game, like picking up right where you were on the other. So I
play 24 hours a day.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for that system.
Yeah, and also Sound Shapes is a game I'm looking forward to on
sure.
that. I don't know.
That's not launched.
No, but definitely looking forward to it. And last thing to mention, The Last Guardian, which is the new game from
Doesn't
the makers
look like it's going to happen.
Ico Shadow of the Colossus. I don't know. There were rumors that it was canceled at the end of the year there, but apparently they were just rumors. So
it's going to get canceled.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Didn't the lead producer and director leave the company?
Yeah, it's done.
Not a good sign.
All right, so we're going to end off the show with a bit of junk mail here.
Junk it up.
We actually have quite a bit of stuff to discuss.
So a little bit more than a bit.
Let's start with this one because this was actually from last show and somehow we forgot it. But this one is from Colin, and he says, "Dear Game Men."
Still think it's a great name.
I'm just wondering about a topic that I think would be interesting to hear addressed from a developer's perspective. How much thought goes into difficulty progression when developing games? Is it a developmental cornerstone from the conceptual stages, or does it get refined through playtesting? On that note, how much do you put stake into your playtesters to help guide games toward being fun? Truthfully, I'd like you to comment on this. And he has a YouTube link to a video, which I don't know if I should actually...
Probably don't need to play it,
but
just a guy ripping on F-Zero.
And P.S. You should think about starting a game club podcast to complement the movie club podcast. Pick a single retro game every month, then discuss it within the scope of the video game history. Good idea, but we don't have time.
Yeah, pretty taxing time-wise.
I have time.
Frank's got time, and he does have the Retro Lounge, so...
And come on, we've done one retro review in the year. We can maybe...
Well, the problem is we always pick RPGs that take 30 hours. Like,
yeah.
Let's pick a game that doesn't take forever.
We picked one game so far.
Fuck.
Well, we'll talk about the possibilities for the next show in a bit, but difficulty levels, what do you guys think?
I honestly, I like games where there's one difficulty level.
Yeah?
You can't change it. Those are my... to me, that's the way every game should be.
Well, I definitely think that I will usually pick whatever the default difficulty level is, because I will assume that's sort of the one that the developer has tailored the most. This is their intended way to play the game.
Just think of the classics. Mario. Zelda.
Yeah, but if you're going to start talking about old games, I mean, they're all fucking hard as hell.
No, even like Mario Galaxy. There's no multiple difficulties.
Right. But I mean, again, like even in like Mario 3D Land, like they do things to help you along if, you know...
if you're shit.
If you're shit. But I mean, that's all stuff that you need to consider as a developer. It's like, well, you know, do you give people the opportunity to... quote unquote cheat a little bit to keep them playing, because you don't want them to eventually just say fuck it and turn off your game, right?
Yeah, most of it's done through playtesting. I mean, the term you probably heard is called balancing, which is really what we sort of call it, and it's not really like we do most of the gameplay mechanics, all three of us, so it's not really our job to balance it to make it more difficult or less difficult that's up to a designer.
Yeah,
and they'll go through and they'll play
exposing.
Yeah, that's right. So we'll go through and we'll expose the health, the damage, all that kind of stuff. And then a designer will go through and play test and then refine those values until it's not too hard, not too easy kind of thing. That's the ideal. You balance the game so it's the right difficulty. But I mean, from the beginning, I don't know if there's really a lot of thought put into it from the beginning. I think it's mostly done through playtesting. You kind of like have the mechanics in mind, and then you'll sort of like, if you have the same enemies at the beginning, they'll probably do more damage at the end of the game, and that's just sort of like the progression that they work in near the end based on what you have.
Yeah, one of the things that's kind of interesting, I think, at least from my experience, is a lot of times, especially in the early stages, you want to prove out an idea for a game, right? So, you know, you want a lot of people trying it and giving feedback. But the thing is, usually, you know, you might have a publisher or, you know, some people who are looking at it that maybe aren't hardcore gamers, you know, they're just suits, they're business people. And, you know, a lot of times it ends up being like you're told, you know, make it easier, you know, because these people suck at these games, so make it easy so they can get through it and they can experience the game, they can give feedback, and then you end up sort of tailoring the game, at least in the early stages, to people that you shouldn't be aiming for at all, which I think can be a problem. I think, you know, difficulty level stuff should be thought about early on, and it should be refined early on, but it usually is a very late stage thing.
I guess the one place where it would be different is an RPG, where you have to determine pretty early, will enemies scale with your level, or will certain areas have higher level stuff?
Yeah, I think RPGs are, I mean, absolutely, that stuff is so stat driven. I mean, you have to be playing with those numbers right from the beginning.
It's also hard to do it if, you know, like, it's not really like going into a game, you have everything nailed down. Right. That's why games take so long, is that you kind of start with a base idea, basic storyline, and then you kind of flesh it out as you go. So to know that, like, you don't know what your enemy setups are going to be like right at the bat. You need to see, because a designer will not know what a level is going to look like, right? That's up to the level artist or, you know, the whatever, level designer. So you need to then, once the level designer has designed it, you can see that, okay, he meant for guys to go up here on these like sniper outposts or hide around this corner, blah, 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 blah. So then you kind of need to work with the gameplay people based on those scenarios, and then balance it based on those scenarios that were created. So to start from the beginning and know that, like, okay, I want all my enemies to do 5 damage here and then 10 damage here. It'd be really hard to figure that out without actually sitting down and playing it.
Yeah, I think it definitely does rely a lot on focus testing and play testing and all that stuff. Because, sometimes it is hard. You can't just rely on designers because usually they're really hardcore gamers and they're really good at a game and they might not have their finger on the pulse of what the average person is going to be doing.
Well, and I mean, even for them to try to figure it out right at the beginning is hard too.
Yeah. All right, next question.
Well, I guess that video we'll touch on later, eh? There's like another question similar to that video rant about F-Zero.
I don't know.
Well, just the video was like a guy ranting about difficulty.
Right.
And, basically, I understand his frustration. I mean, if you come across a level that's just way too fucking hard, there's a problem.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not fun, like Dwyer, you were saying. You don't want it to be too hard where people just throw their controller and walk away forever.
You don't want Frank to say, who thought this was fun?
Exactly.
Exactly is right.
All right, next up we got one from Casper. He says, now that Sony is all about the HD upgrades of classic and not so classic series, is there any particular games you'd like to see get the HD treatment? I imagine Frank would love to be able to both replay Crash Bandicoot and pick up a bunch of trophies on the way.
I would.
We kind of answered this, was it last episode or the episode before? We were talking about remakes and stuff. So I guess, though, more specifically, we're talking about something that could
Direct remakes or something.
Well, something that could be upgraded to HD, so it's probably not like a 8-bit or 16-bit game. It would have to be 3D. Like a 3D game.
Yeah. So I had a few. I'll start. On the Sega Saturn, there was some Shining Force games. I've talked about Shining Force before. I think Shining Force 3, but it was like 3 games.
Yeah, only one
combined.
Only one came out in North America. Parts 2 and 3 were in Japan.
Right. So I never played any of those, and I think that would be a neat kind of HD collection remake thing. X-Wing and TIE Fighter, those space shooter sims, I think would be a really neat upgrade. I mean, if you look back at the art now, it's basically just ugly triangles and squares. It's pretty basic. So I think that, I know there's a rumor that they were remaking TIE Fighter, I think. So just kind of bundle that and X-Wing together, I think would be pretty neat. And then the last one I had was the Myst and Riven games. I think those would be pretty neat to see. HD graphics, widescreen, like really nice vistas, that kind of stuff.
I know that Myst has been re-released a bunch of times, and there was like a pack of stuff that I think I bought on Steam not too long ago. I haven't checked to see exactly what's in there, but I think there may be, I don't know if it would be HD, but some sort of
higher quality
upgraded
textures and stuff.
Yeah.
Images.
So that might be there, but
cool.
I would like to see the GTAs from the PlayStation 2 era.
Well, especially with that, there's that mod that I don't know which game it's for. It's for
4, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the photorealistic one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for 4. I don't think that would ever come into play, but
I mean, that kind of gives you an idea of what you could have been missing out on if those games were aiming for something a little more realistic, I guess.
Yeah, I never played those games, so I'd be interested too. Panzer Dragoons, obviously, because I love Daytona HD, the remake as well, and I love the new Blitz. I wanted to mention that.
Oh yeah, I wanted to pick that up. Did you pick it up on PS3?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Might have to see you on there.
All right, let's do it. But
I'll throw out a Deus Ex, first Deus Ex.
Really?
That'd be a good one.
Would you? And
I'll also throw out System Shock 2, the predecessor to BioShock, which I've never played but would like to.
And what else?
I mean, they're pretty much doing all the obvious ones at this point.
They're doing Syndicate,
but isn't Syndicate an
XCOM?
Syndicate's like a brand new game, right? Like it's not just an upgrade of.
I would like to see what Casper. It was Casper, right?
Yeah,
that wrote that. Like PS1 games doing it as well. They're all doing PS2. I would
Siphon Filter, maybe.
I don't know. Crash Bandicoot. Those 3 Naughty Dog games are all like they still look good. I would love to see them in high dis
What about Tony Hawk Pro Skater? I'm actually looking forward to that.
Oh, and like you said, if they took every game for the Wii or GameCube and put them in high def on Wii U, I would buy every one of them.
Right.
100%.
I would actually like to see Final Fantasy 8, not 7. 8.
I would
HD.
I would love to see Mario Galaxy in high def. It would look beautiful.
What about 64?
Yeah.
What about KOTOR 1 and 2?
Oh, good call.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That'd be pretty
Real
sweet.
good call.
Mass Effect engine?
Yeah.
I did play Halo Anniversary recently too, and wasn't blowing me away.
No?
No.
That's something if I saw it for real cheap, I'd probably pick up, but...
Yeah, I bought the Metal Gear Collection, but I haven't had time to... And I never played Peace Walker, so I do want to give that a whirl.
All right, another one from Patrick. Hi, Game Men. Once again.
See, I think it's the name, dude.
Catching on. You've probably talked about this in the past, but I'll ask it anyway. Can you talk about what it is you actually do or did on games? Do you work with the graphics, the design, or the engine? I guess maybe you can't go into too much detail, but it would be interesting to hear anything you can share. Also, what the fuck did Reed do that he can retire at such a tender age? You guys worked at the same company for a while, right? Patrick.
I think he just never spends money.
Yeah, Reed was not, some like incredibly high-paid engineer that I think, he actually probably, I don't know if this is true, but I think he might have been making more money at the job he was at before he worked at Silicon Knights. But yeah, he just does not spend money. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. I am a programmer. I started doing like menu stuff. Moved on from that to main player mechanics, all different kinds of main player system. I guess you'd call in the biz a generalist would be my specification.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. I gameplay programmer, generalist, whatever you want to call it. Just jack of all trades, but definitely not
master of none.
Yeah, not. I've never been one of the more technical guys. I don't have much interest in that, and I don't have much patience for that. So, hats off to all the people who do crazy graphics and engine programming, but not
the real
for me.
work.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I am pretty similar. I did mostly AI, started in AI, and kind of done AI since then, though I've done stints in engine technology, some rendering, memory management, some of the more lower level stuff that's not as fun, but still important. And yeah, that's really it. Now I'm kind of branching out into some mobile stuff as well, so a little bit here and there, everywhere. Generalist as well.
Yeah, it is kind of funny though that all three of us are pretty much exact same job description for the most part. Like, there's not really much variety here on the podcast, but we get some artists and animators in here from time to time. All right, so next up we've got one from Zydor, who says, did you guys ever play games on the Apple IIc back in the late 1980s? First RPG I played was A Bard's Tale 3, A Thief of Fate. You guys often talk about early RPGs, and that one got me into gaming. There was a text-only game of A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy that was good back then. In junior high, I took a class to program a TRS-80, and it was pretty similar to the Apple back then. I was just curious if you guys had any thoughts on early games or on those platforms, and if not, what was the first platform you played or programmed on? Does Frank collect old-ass computers as well?
I do not collect old-ass computers.
You better get on
Nor
there.
have I played those Amiga games. Or any other old PC games. I started with Nintendo.
That's not where you're supposed to start. You gotta...
Oh, I did have a Commodore 64. But I think I got that after my Nintendo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was all Commodore 64 for me. I mean, that's not true. I had a VIC-20 first. But, there wasn't really a lot you could do with the VIC-20. So it was all Commodore 64. I started doing a little bit of programming then, but I think I was still kind of too young to really... Like, I would copy... I had some of those like Byte magazine and all those things, and they'd have programs that you could just basically type like word for word in from the magazine, and then you'd have like a little game or whatever. I would do shit like that, but I never really understood what half of it was. So, but I did play some stuff on the Apple just because we had one at my elementary school. So I remember like Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, Oregon Trail, and trying to think what else. There's a few other things in there, but yeah, Commodore all the way.
I too, Commodore. Never had an Apple II. Never even touched an Apple II, I don't think. And I also started programming really late. I don't think I ever actually programmed until high school. I think in one of the first grade, maybe grade 9 or 10 or something, I think I took a basic class on a PC, 486 or whatever it was back then.
My first language was Turing.
Oh yeah, Turing. Heard of it. Never used it.
Mine was Quick Basic. Loved Quick Basic.
All right. Next up, Michael says, I think this one was via Facebook. Just want an opinion on this, if I may. Put enough time into Skyrim to hit level 100 in every skill.
It's pretty good.
Then ran into a game-breaking glitch that won't let me finish the main dragon story. Would you hunt down and kill the people who made the game, or just have a wank and go to bed?
Well, I totally understand his frustration. I mean, that's fucking brutal. But I mean,
that's pretty much worst case scenario.
Yeah,
right there.
I mean, there's no reason to go hunt them down, obviously. But I mean, there's definitely cause to be pissed off.
They need to be told, though.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you should write them an angry letter and they'll reimburse you, or send you some free DLC or something.
Maybe they'll fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there is always the chance that they'll fix it with DLC, but I guess if your save game is from a different version, maybe that won't work. I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't know. It sucks, obviously. I mean, that's no fun. I mean, I talked about my Final Fantasy VII on PC exploits last episode, and I know the frustration it can cause, so yeah, that's fucking brutal.
But I mean, again, Skyrim, this is the kind of game that this stuff happens in, because there's just so much stuff going on in this game that it's like, how the hell can you possibly account for it all?
Yeah, maybe write back in and say, like, what the fuck happened? Because, I mean, that's... Maybe you should let other people know.
Yeah, that's true. All right, here's one from Blake in Boston. Hey, game men. I recently purchased a pretty sweet 55-inch Panasonic Viera GT30 Plasma.
Nice.
Which in hindsight...
Remarkable black levels.
Makes my old Samsung LCD look like a virtual boy. However, the one drawback is the break-in period, with most plasmas needing 100 to 200 hours of break-in time to avoid the risks of image retention or burn-in. As a film fan, this means avoiding black bars in widescreen and 4:3 content. For gamers, this means avoiding static bright images that can damage the pixels on the screen, such as HUDs, health meters, etc. For this period, I want to explore games without any static HUDs. One game that comes to mind is the Dead Space series, which uses heads-up displays in very interesting ways. Do you have any recommendations for HUD-less games, and what do you think about HUD-less gaming in general? Cheers, Blake.
Does Origins have HUDs? Does the Player 1 and Player 2 thing? That just shows up at the beginning of the level, right?
Which game? Rayman?
Origins.
I'm not sure.
I don't think there's anything on screen.
I don't think so.
I had a hard time thinking of games without HUDs, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's cool when they don't have HUDs, but at the same time, it's really hard to accomplish that. Like, Dead Space did it right. And, like, in a game like Skyrim has fairly low amounts of HUD, but at the same time, like, that game has such a, like, small viewing angle. You almost need the HUD to tell you where shit's going.
Does Uncharted have a HUD? I don't think so, right?
No, and I think, I guess they just use the red on the screen, right, when you start getting hit.
Yeah.
Well, I guess none that sticks on the screen. That's right, yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, there's a few that I was trying to remember. Like, I think there was a couple, like, survival horror games that did it. Like, I think there was a game called Skyrim that I don't think has a HUD. I'm trying to think of, like, the Silent Hill games.
Does Alan Wake have a HUD?
I think so.
Yeah. As for his burn-in, I don't know. I know when I got my plasma, what I did is I downloaded a CD image off the internet, and it was basically like, I don't know what it was called, like plasma break-in CD or whatever. And all it is it's probably like a 40-minute loop, and all it does is it plays colors, full screen. So you just throw it into your, Blu-ray player, PS3, whatever you got hooked up, and you just run it. And basically what I would do is I just leave it on overnight or when I'm not watching TV and let it run. And that basically helps the burn-in faster, right? Because it's gonna use the pixels, get them used to it, and basically just cycles colors. It just goes, white, red, blue, purple, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And I just ran that as much as I could for the first 2 weeks or whatever. And then, it seems to have helped. I mean, if I watch a lot of 4:3 shit, I still see the black bars for the first, 10 minutes or whatever as I go to a HD screen, but they fade after a while. I have a plasma too, or a Panasonic as well, and plasma. But.
Yeah, I've heard of those things. Those are I should look into that. Mirror's Edge is another one, no HUD, and Heavy Rain as well.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I think this is definitely the kind of stuff that
Heavy Rain would be a good game to play too while you're.
Yeah, and also Shadow of the Colossus and Ico, I believe, are both no HUD.
Shadow of the Colossus has a HUD.
Really?
Yeah, that little
I think
shit
it fades,
corner.
but it comes up at times.
So I think this is the kind of thing that a lot of people are trying to move towards, at least in terms of if you're going for like a cinematic feel or if you're, trying to immerse people in a story. Obviously, there's certain kinds of games like fighting games and stuff. Like, you're never going to get away from that, I don't think. But
instead of no HUD, I wish they gave you a wider viewing angle. I feel like, I don't know if you guys feel this way about Skyrim, but I feel like I'm in like a fucking box with blinders on.
I know Jay feels that way.
I wish they would just open up. Like, I know there's obviously technical limitations to doing that because it's such a huge world, but...
Do you play on PC or PS3?
Yeah, PC.
Because I think someone wrote in, when Jay had said that, I think, on Film Junk, that there's a field of view. You can play
is there?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'll play around the settings.
I couldn't find it on PS3, though.
one thing I wanted to mention, too, on this topic, though, is the Wii U is actually going to be very interesting for this because they've got... the actual controller that you hold in your hands. I've seen tech demos and stuff where that would be, your HUD would be on that, and then the TV itself would have no HUD whatsoever. So
interesting.
Could be cool. All right. So this is kind of a longer one from Michael, but I don't know how much I should read. Should I read the whole thing or what?
I don't know.
He gave you a part of the thing that's...
Yeah, a quick version.
We all read the other stuff, so...
Yeah, well, okay, so I guess basically he actually is originally from St. Catharines as well and works in Toronto at a game studio. Now, he had one specific question, which is, what are your opinions on games telling a story? Should they continue embedding more cinematic qualities into a game, and what do you see the relationship being between gameplay and narrative in the near future? So,
I think it's gonna go two directions. One is the highly immersive cinematic narrative, and I think you're gonna see more cases like Huck had with Uncharted, where you didn't know you had control. Yeah. Right. I think that's just gonna kind of be the norm, and sooner or later you're gonna expect that you have control in these weird angle type things, like unconventional camera framings. And I think that's a good thing. I like when games do that. I actually think if you can't do a strong story, don't clutter it with others, with pointless stuff. I hate that. And I feel forced to watch it just because I'm playing the game, and I wish more games would go back to arcadey type stuff and more action and mechanic based than trying to be a movie in a video game.
Yeah, I think
there's a world for both, but I think everyone's going to... This is an interactive movie, and I think, to me, it's bad for the industry. The only games that don't do that now are the $10 arcade games or iPhone games, and I just wish there was bigger budget games that weren't narrative based. That's why I love Mario games too. Like,
I like
just
when
a shred of narrative.
Yeah, I like when games are cinematic, but not necessarily heavy narrative. You know, I can't think of an example right off the top of my head, but I mean, there's always going to be games like you were saying, Uncharted and those.
I think Uncharted does a good job of incorporating like story elements while you're playing.
Yeah, definitely.
Like not a cutscene for everything. Like, you know, when you're doing a puzzle, they're bantering back and forth and uncovering layers to the story. I think they're good at not explicitly telling the story through cutscenes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Like Limbo is like a prime example. Like, there's no narrative per se. There's no written dialogue. I don't think I haven't played through the whole thing, but there's definitely a story.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
like games like that,
or like we were saying before, Super Metroid to me is the pinnacle of that.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about stuff like Limbo, where it's a little more abstract, a little bit more art housey,
or even
if
like
you will.
Flower. Like Flower tells a story, but there's definitely no conventional storytelling there at all.
Right. But on the flip side of that, I think the games like Heavy Rain and LA Noire, while they were sort of flawed, I think those are kind of on the cusp of something interesting, something different. And I think I just want to see the point where we start putting out games where you don't need to be shooting stuff all the time to be interested, you know, where a conversation with somebody between two characters can be compelling, and you can be involved that way, or just walking around a city or whatever. Like, stuff like that excites me. I don't think we're quite there yet.
The thing with that is it takes a lot of time and a lot of money to achieve that, right? And no one's really perfected it yet. I mean, you could say LA Noire kind of almost got there, but didn't, you know, and they spent a lot of money on that game. Uncharted, I guess Mass Effect would be kind of up there as well. But even so, a lot of those conversations are just kind of empty.
Yeah.
They don't really have that much interest. I mean, the main story ones might, but that's where you run into the problem where, like, Zelda is a prime example where all the talking is just fucking pointless.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And there's no point to any of it. You could have that whole game not talking to anyone except maybe a person pointing their finger in the proper way to go.
Yeah.
And
probably
like
prefer it.
you'd probably cut down about 20 hours of gameplay and enjoy the game a lot more. And that's a time when I think the story hurts the game.
Yeah.
And I think that's something game developers need to learn, that people in the movie business have known for years, which is, you know, there's visual storytelling is the big thing, you know, like you don't need to have pages of dialogue to tell something to the player. You can do it very subtly. You can do it very simply, just by, you know, having people indicate something, or there's other ways to do it. And when people start learning more of that, I think games are going to get pretty interesting.
That might actually even promote replayability of games, because if there's like a really big cinematic point that has a big story point in it that you don't see the first time, but then you go talk to your friends and they're like, oh yeah, it makes sense because this happened or whatever, and you see it in the scene. You know, it might force them to go back. They might want to go back and experience that again. Or, you know, if there's some sort of twist, like if you put sort of like The Usual Suspects into a video game form, and, you know, you sort of like drop subtle visual hints as you were going towards the final twist, you know, maybe you'd want to go back and play again and actually more so look for those visual twists that were kind of dropped in there, those clues to the final, to make sure they're actually there, that the twist actually made sense. You know, it might make the player more interested.
Yeah, that could be cool for sure.
One idea that I always liked that got canceled was that Spielberg game, where it was a 2-hour experience every time. Like, it was like watching a movie, but there was tons of freedom within each scenario to have the movie play out differently. Like, that's a really cool idea to me.
Sort of like a cut down Heavy Rain.
Yeah.
To a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Okay, so last question. This one's from Brad. He says, hey guys, in the last episode there was a little discussion about the Mario franchise and their order of greatness, and it troubled me. Troubled him.
I'm sorry.
I need you to provide your individual top 5 of the Mario franchise. Thanks, Brad.
I don't think Brad's going to like it.
This is going to get controversial.
Sure will.
All right, am I starting?
Do it.
Number 5. Super Mario 64.
Ooh.
Whatever.
It's good.
It's all right.
Dwyer will not be happy with
It's number 1, obviously.
All right.
What?
It's obviously number 1.
My
Or
number
not.
1?
It's either that or Mario 3, which didn't even make my list. Just so you know.
Dwyer is going to be polar opposite. My number 5, Super Mario Galaxy.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Also my number 5.
Ooh. Interesting. My number 4, the original Super Mario Brothers.
Also my number 4.
My number 4, Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo.
Number 3 for me. My 3 and 2 might ruffle feathers as well. Number 3, Super Mario Galaxy 2.
Oh. My number 3, Super Mario RPG for the Super
Doesn't
Nintendo.
count.
Sure it does.
It's got to be a pure Mario game.
We'll accept it. But I mean, I was thinking
Fine.
like, geez, I could go Mario Kart.
Super Mario Sunshine. Eat
Ah!
Don't do that. All right, my number 3 is Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. Also, Super Nintendo.
You put Mario World 2 over Mario World.
I did.
Big mistake.
Retarded. My number 2, Super Mario Galaxy 1.
Oh, God.
That's how good the Mario Galaxy games are. They are incredible.
Mario Galaxy 2 probably would have made my list, but I have not played it, so.
It's amazing.
My number 2, Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo.
Yep.
My number 2, Super Mario Brothers. For the NES.
Good game. My number 1, hands down, not even close, Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, good call.
It's a good game. It's not number 1.
It's really good. I think
I go back and play that still.
I think it earns its spot based on one thing.
Yoshi?
The key that goes woo. Like that's all I need. That keyhole expanding to the sides of the screen. It has me right there.
Okay.
And all the secret exits to the levels and stuff like that.
A lot of secrets.
What a game. Star World, come on. Whatever piece of shit you put at number 1. I know it's Mario.
He's going to put Super Mario 2 there. You watch.
No, it's going
to be number 3.
Did you say Mario 3 yet?
No, he hasn't.
Did I? I don't know.
Yeah.
But you haven't said Mario 64 yet.
Well, he hasn't said his number 1 yet.
My number 1 is Mario 64.
Oh.
Mario 3 for him.
Damn it. Obviously, it's Super Mario 3. Come on. It's like the best game ever, basically. Like, it's... come on.
Not even on my list.
Come on.
Like, I remember when that game came
'cause
out.
You were a little older, right? Than we are.
It's because you had a fucking raccoon tail. Big
You probably
deal.
fucking loved the wizard.
Yeah, obviously. But I think Mario 3 is the pinnacle of the Mario franchise, easily. Like, the stuff they introduced with like all the little secrets, all the like the fact that you actually have the board now, you move from level to level, which has obviously become, a staple of the Mario franchise ever since.
But that doesn't make the game better.
Well, I think the actual gameplay is, the proof's in the pudding, really. I mean, it was the most popular game of all time, best-selling game of all time, whatever you want to say.
Ooh, where's he getting these facts from?
I was pulling them right out of his Tanuki suit.
Google it. Google that one.
Okay.
I think
We'll find it.
there will be many people that would agree with me on that one.
Best selling of all
This
time.
guy
eh?
typically just playing to the audience, playing to the fanboys. Fuck you.
No Super
Brad
Mario
asked
Land
for it.
3D, eh?
He
Brad
got it.
it.
No Super Mario Land 3D, although I did consider Super Mario Land for the original Game Boy.
This guy's he's flown the coop.
All right, that's it for junk mail. Thanks everyone for your emails, and as always, the address is still filmjunk@gmail.com for whatever reason. But so let's talk about upcoming releases and what we've got planned for the next episode. Not a lot coming out over the next few months.
Mass Effect 3.
Mass Effect 3 is probably the big one for you guys.
Final Fantasy 13 2.
Soul Calibur 5.
PlayStation Vita.
The Darkness 2.
I'm just excited because I get the Vita 1 week before everyone.
Except for all the other people that pre-ordered
it. Yeah.
But it just still feels good.
You know what? You'll have it a lot longer before I have it.
We got reboots of a couple other franchises. Are you guys excited about...
I'm buying the Daxter collection day one.
Are you guys excited about SSX or Twisted Metal?
Not SSX. I'm excited about Twisted Metal, though.
I'm going to be interested to see how they do multiplayer on Twisted Metal, because that was really what sold me on that game on the PlayStation when it was first there. PlayStation 2, whatever it was on.
I loved it.
Let's see. Ninja Gaiden 3.
Is that soon? I thought that was for Wii U.
It says February 14th, but I don't know if that's accurate.
That's not accurate at all. They're re-releasing the first one, Ninja Gaiden Sigma, for Vita on February 14th.
Oh, okay.
Get your facts.
I don't know, man.
Straight,
I don't know. I'm just the messenger here. What about Gotham City Imposters? You guys interested in that?
No.
Not yet.
Maybe if it blows us away, I'll check it out.
Alan Wake's American Nightmare. And then looking ahead to March, we have Kid Icarus Uprising and Mass Effect, as you already mentioned. And that's pretty much it. Not a whole lot there.
So any idea for the next show, then? We're throwing around some ideas.
We got a few ideas. I mean, there's still some discussion about Skyrim, doing a Skyrim episode.
Uh-huh.
I haven't played it yet. Obviously, our good buddy Jay has played it a bit. May have some interest in discussing that.
I have thrown out the idea of a Naughty Dog retrospective featuring Uncharted 3 as the main review. Taking a look at
1 and 2?
No.
Oh.
And then taking a look at the other games from their, like, the Jack and Daxter collection comes out. So maybe looking at Jak 1 and Crash Bandicoot 1 and seeing what they got.
Yeah, and then also...
I love Jak 1. One of my favorite games of all time.
Well, I mean, that's... it just depends how long the game is, you know?
It's not that long.
What about Crash Bandicoot? How long's that game?
Not that long.
Depends how good you are.
I'm good.
I'm not good.
And if you want to get all the gems.
I'm also not very good.
Well, I mean, yeah, so it's kind of looking like either...
I'll put it to the listeners. What do they want to hear?
Well, they always want to hear retro stuff, so I'm guessing they'd be more interested in like a Jak Crash Bandicoot than they would be a Skyrim, but I don't know.
Well, when they speak,
what about Deus Ex?
Listen.
You can do a Deus Ex review.
No.
I still want to play that.
Absolutely not.
And
some Ass Creed. Nah.
I'd rather do a current game, to be honest. I think you should buy a Vita, and we should do a Vita special.
Yeah. We'll see. Maybe if I have a job.
It's a possibility as well. All right. Well,
I said to Sean today, we should hit the hole right while it's open. Convert Game Junk
Hard and fast
to a Vita-only podcast. Be the first on board. There's gonna
revolutionary.
If we all pre-order it, we can play it and then have the podcast come out
launch day,
the day it hits stores,
and we'll review 10 games.
Yeah,
by 10 games.
But the first 10 minutes of each game, maybe.
Well, no, we'll all take the week off.
Well, I can do that, no problem. I don't know if I can play that many games.
It could be good.
I get kind of bored.
All right. Well, obviously, listeners, if you have thoughts,
if they're saying they want retro stuff,
or we going to do that retro review that we talked about, or
I don't know if I can handle that.
Yeah, all right. We can pick something else, little arcade style, maybe.
I'd like some more retro stuff that isn't an RPG.
Agreed. I still think Crash Bandicoot we can throw in anywhere. We could do that with something else.
Yeah.
But
I'd like everyone to visit Nights for Sega Saturn.
Okay.
I got 3 Saturns I can lend out to you guys. I got 3 copies with, 2 copies of Nights, 1 of Christmas Nights we can rotate.
What about Jaguar? You got 2 Jaguars.
I've never played Nights.
Oh.
Never played it.
Oh.
Might be an interesting retro review.
Interesting. Very interesting.
All right, well, I guess we'll wrap this one up.
Wrap, please.
But, as I mentioned, let us know what you want to hear. Maybe we'll just take a few months off. Just chillax.
That might happen.
It probably will, but can't make any guarantees here. So, as always, just want to remind you, GameJunkPodcast.com is sort of the dedicated site for the show. You can also follow us on Facebook, Facebook.com/GameJunk, or Twitter, Twitter.com/GameJunkPodcast. Both of those, if you follow us, we post news every now and then.
Sean has been very diligent, I'd say, at posting news stories on there.
Big time.
The cream of the crop. We're your filter. Or Sean's your filter.
Only the important stuff.
To the important stories in the industry.
And if you see a shitty one or a duplicate, that's probably me.
So, and always, if you have any discussions you want to kickstart, you can do that on the Film Junk forums at filmjunk.com/forum. And you can follow each of us individually on Twitter, twitter.com/dirtyfrank with 3 R's in dirty, twitter.com/myangrycommute, and twitter.com/filmjunk. So, until next time, see you guys later.